ahead and please tweet out the space. Go ahead and tweet out the space to your followers, your listeners, your supporters. I appreciate everybody coming up in the space. What's up to 100Ks? What's up to Ray, Professor Shism? What's up to Patricia and everybody, 100K, everybody that's coming up in the space. Thank you guys. Plan on having us a pretty nice dialogue, nice conversation tonight. So glad to have you guys up in there. Ray, I sent you the actual co-host invite. So okay, I see you got it. Thank you guys for coming up in here. Last time I talked to some of you guys, we was in the middle of a hurricane, lost power, and I believe that was Thursday. Yeah, lost power. Had a Twitter space going on. Hurricane came with some little wind and stuff. Luckily, we didn't get hit by full force or anything like that. So, but it did temporarily, knock the lights out for a second just to kill the actual Twitter space. So, thank you guys for coming into the space tonight. I appreciate you. We're going to be talking about a number of things tonight. We're going to be talking about the Dave Chappelle Saturday Night Live skit. We're going to be talking about the Charlottesville shooting that we had happen the other day. We're going to be mentioning that as well. We're going to be talking about Gen Z and millennials and how they helped out in the actual election as well. And we're going to be talking about black women because we had a bunch of haters on here the other day talking about black women, and black women don't talk to regular guys. Black women only talk to thugs and all kind of nonsense. Just throwing salt in the game of black women. So we want to discuss black women, our support of them and whatnot. So once again, thank you guys for coming into the space. I won't hesitate. So I see everybody's coming in here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing started. Ray, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? How y'all doing today?
Pretty good. I'm just making sure that you can hear me all right and whatnot. Like I said, we're going to be
just chilling, man.
Yeah, man, we're going to be talking about Dave Chappelle, black women, Gen Z, and we're going to be talking about the millennials as well, too. A lot of people believe that they helped out and they aided the Democratic Party and what would have been probably a whitewash, that they were able to lend their support and help the Democratic Party as well, too. So we're going to be talking about that. And like I said, we got a bunch of haters going on talking about black women and black women only date white men and all kind of just ridiculous stuff. I don't know what these people be talking about. Like some of.
Is that what's going on in Charlottesville?
Yeah. You saw 3 people dead and 2 injured.
Oh, no, bro. I literally been off work an hour. I haven't been able to get up in the shower and eat.
Oh yeah, well I'm gonna cover it. We're gonna cover it tonight. We are definitely gonna cover it. We about to get started right here. Y'all give me 1 second. I'm letting Professor come up. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna cover all of this stuff tonight, man. Let me go ahead and start off with Dave Chappelle first. Of course, we all know that about Dave Chappelle doing a monologue on Saturday Night Live and whatnot. So let's just go ahead and touch up on this real quick. This was courtesy of Black Enterprise, curator on the Newstoter.com platform. It says Dave Chappelle jokes about Kanye West and anti-Semitism on Saturday Night Live. Comedian Dave Chappelle appeared on Saturday Night Live on November 2nd, and the funny man delivered a hilarious monologue that is sure to ruffle some feathers. Chappelle made light of the controversy surrounding anti-Semitic comments made by musician Kanye West, who now goes by Ye, when the musician appeared on the podcast Drink Champs in October. He also joked about Jewish people running Hollywood and said that West broke show business rules. Ray, go ahead, and if you see anybody coming trying to speak, go ahead. Oh, I see DJ coming in. Let me go ahead and make him the co-host as well, too. It says he broke show business rules. If you're black, then it's a gang. If they're Italian, then it's a mob. But if they're Jewish, it's just a coincidence, and you should never speak about it, joked Chappelle. Chappelle also joked that West got into so much trouble, he got Brooklyn Nets baller Kyrie Irving into trouble. Irvin apologized after he shared a link on Instagram to a movie he saw on Amazon that is reportedly anti-Semitic. The comedian was a focus of controversy himself following his debut of his 2021 Netflix special, The Closer. Chappelle was accused of being transphobic in the special and was later nominated for 2 Emmy Awards. Upon being booked to host Saturday Night Live, reports that writers on the show were boycotting Chappelle began to circulate. However, a representative of Chappelle denied the rumors. The room was full of writers. They all pitched ideas and they seemed to be very excited about it. Dave is looking to have some fun, said the rep. Chappelle did not address the controversy surrounding the closer during his appearance, except to say it shouldn't be this scary to do his job. So, if you guys also heard, now I heard that you got you have the Jewish Anti-Defamation League and stuff. We're not exactly pleased about Dave Chappelle on it. They felt that he made light of the situation. So now we still have this cancel culture, and once again, Dave Chappelle, who was a target of a lot of hate, lash, and this and whatnot. People felt like he was being anti-LGBTQ, anti-transphobic, and this and that. Now he seems to have ruffled the feathers of a lot of the actual Anti-Defamation League as well too. So one thing about Chappelle though, he doesn't seem to really give two you know what about it. So he ruffled some feathers. He made people laugh and this and that. Now he's drawing the ire of a lot of the Jewish community as well too. So it's going to be interesting to see where this actually plays out as well too. So we're going to get back to Dave Chappelle as well. Anybody wants to speak, you guys go ahead. But I want to go ahead and touch on this actual. I'm trying to hit up all of the topics real quick. We're going to go in and cover real quick the Charlottesville shooter. 3 people dead, 2 injured at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville. Shooter being sought. Of course, I already heard that the shooter was actually apprehended. So this was actually early today, this article. It was also published by Black Enterprise, curator on Newstoter.com platform. So like I said, this was early events. To my knowledge, the shooter has been apprehended. It was a black gentleman as well. A shooting on the campus of the University of Virginia in Charlottesville has left 3 people dead as local police officers actively search for the suspected shooter. According to NBC News, 2 others were injured Sunday night. Officers are looking for the suspect identified as Christopher Darnell Jones. The shooting was first reported around 10:30 p.m. The incident reportedly took place in a parking garage near the school's drama building. The 3 people who died were not immediately identified. The University of Virginia Police Department issued a warning to the students and general public and gave a description of Jones. Suspect is described as a black male wearing a burgundy jacket or hoodie, blue jeans, and red shoes. They later followed up the social media post with a photograph of Jones. 6 News Richmond reported that the police officials stated that Jones was armed and dangerous and may be seen driving a black SUV that has a Virginia license plate. Police described Jones as 5'8" tall, weighing 190 pounds. The search is still active. Like I say, based on reports, he's already been caught. The UVA president Jim Ryan released an email to students warning them of the shooter and detailing the shooting. I'm heartbroken to report that the shooting has resulted in 3 fatalities. 2 additional victims were injured and are receiving medical care. This is a message any leader hopes never to have to send, and I'm devastated that this violence has visited the University of Virginia. So that, in case you guys don't know, in Black Native, she actually responded earlier in an actual tweet as well too. I believe a couple of her family members attended the university and stuff like that, so she was able to speak on it on a personal level as well too. So, yeah, that the fact of the matter that it's unfortunate that you have people lose their lives. I don't know how the injured parties are right now. I don't know how severe their injuries are. So prayers sent to them and their family, and we wish for the best for them. Very unfortunate incident that this person would go to the campus and do what he actually did. To my knowledge, I believe the victims are black. You know, I'm not entirely sure, whatever. We know that the actual shooter was a black man, but, you know, it's definitely unfortunate that this had to happen. Like I say, prayers to the family members and everybody out there. I truly feel for them. Very, very bad outcome that happened today. And hopefully, like I said, we can go ahead and try to prevent some of these mass shootings. It seems like the mass shootings are something that happens almost on a monthly basis as well, too. They've been happening at these universities the past 10 years at least to say. So like I say, prayers and thoughts go out to the family members. We're truly sorry for what happened and what took place. Ray, go ahead, brother, and unmute your mic.
Obviously, everyone knows I've said it multiple times when I'm very pro-gun. If we really want to solve these mass shootings, it's extremely simple. I've said this multiple times. The school debate is very easy. Either you provide schools with the same level of security as politicians, or you provide politicians with the same level of security as the schools. And I guarantee you to change overnight.
Oh, yeah, and I'm in agreement with you on that as well, too. I mean, Guns can only do the damage if actually you got a fool behind the shooting. I know people, that's an old cliche that people say, well, guns don't kill, guns people do, but that's kind of true. You got to have a person that's going to pull that trigger to actually do it as well too. So we're gonna get to we're gonna go ahead and get to I'm sorry.
No, so I was just gonna say we got 330 million guns. We literally have more guns in this nation than people, and there's close to a trillion rounds of ammo just in circulation. If it was the gun owners that were the problem, everyone would know. I'm just saying, but it's not us. It's these crazy people. Like anything else, it takes one or two bad apples to try to ruin it for everything. But just look at history. Look at the history of people being disarmed. Once they become disarmed, genocide comes right after. Y'all can say I'm being crazy, paranoid, whatever, but I'd rather be paranoid than be unprepared.
I feel you on that. Let me give a shout out to Brian and my man down here in Florida with me. Brian, I appreciate that you appreciate the work we do. Thank you for your contribution on Cash App. We both in the state of Florida, so I definitely appreciate that, bro. So thank you so much. Let's go ahead and get the professor, and then we're going to go ahead and get the Black Native. Also, guys, we've covered two of the stories so far about Dave Chappelle Saturday Night Live skit, and we're talking about the Charlottesville shooting, but we're going to also cover the Gen Z and the millennials and their role in the actual elections that just went by. We're going to also talk about, the hatred that a lot of our sisters, Black women, getting on here. If you guys haven't heard, Tamara Sheeley Johnson, she had some lunatic knocking at her door and whatnot. She believes that a lot of people believe that it could have been in response to, some people upset in the Democratic Party for her standing her ground and speaking about values and stuff for Black people. So this sister was getting harassed by this white gentleman knocking on her door, harassing her and stuff like that. So the Democrats were big on protecting women and this and that or whatever. We haven't heard them issue an actual statement about this sister, what she went through. So let's remember to support Tamara, keep her in your prayers as well too. Let's try to keep her as safe as possible, y'all. Let's go ahead and kick it to Professor, then Black Native.
Hey, Newstoter, you already know I'm gonna kick it to the sister Black Native.
Black Native, what's going on, sister?
Thank you, Professor. Hey, Newstoter. I'm gonna be brief because my phone is at 3%. Yeah, my brother's daughter attends UVA, and she actually heard the gunshots. When I called her, she told me at that time the person hadn't been apprehended, but the school knew he had a firearm on the grounds, so that's questionable. And the people that he shot were part of the football team. They had just came back from some type of road trip, and I don't know what happened on that bus, but yeah, he shot his teammates and he shot two other people, and from what she told me, they were Black. So I had to call because I didn't even know. My daughter called me because she called my daughter when this was going on. And my brother, he stays in North Carolina with me. So, and that's his only child. That's my only niece. So, yeah, he was panicking. But thank God she's okay. But, yeah, when she told me that they knew he had a gun on the premises, I wonder why did they... Oh, gosh.
We may have lost Black Native. I know she said her phone was kind of.
Yeah, I think she went down, man. Normally her phone, when it gets like that, it just go and cut right on off of her.
Okay. So Professor, you go ahead and go ahead and touch any one of these topics, or feel free. I mean, just because I haven't got to the actual Black women and the Gen Z, also if you want to touch on that topic as well too, because I'm gonna go back to this Dave Chappelle thing as well too. Like I said, you got a lot of people in the media not happy that Dave Chappelle was on there. They felt like he took cheap shots at the Jewish community and this and that or whatever. So you still got a lot of people that's pissed off. Like it's kind of like, hey, everybody's got to be put in their place. All the Black men got to be put in their place and this and that. So from Kanye West, and you can at least say with Kanye West, it may have been justified, but everybody else, they kind of just going in. Kyrie, and now they want to start with Dave. So go ahead, Professor.
All right. Thank you, that Newstoter, man, and wonderful space here as always, brother, and DJ and Ray and everybody in the space here. Good to see y'all. These are topics that we definitely need to touch on. And Black Native did say her phone was dead. I just got a message from her. So let me say this, y'all. First, this violence in Virginia, University of Virginia, man. I'm really hurt by that, man, to see the three young brothers that have lost their lives. I don't know the story behind it. None of us really know anything right now, I'm sure.
It sounds personal, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, it does. It sounds really personal, and I hate to see something like this, man, because this will be a narrative that will be put out here, you know, about the whole black on black thing. You know, you hear that narrative all the time now, which gets thrown out here due to white supremacy. Let's just be honest. That's a way for them to try to throw us off the main thing that we all trying to achieve here, which is reparations. This would be another way to try to throw us off of that. But let me say this to y'all: while this is going on that university, is also another shooting that took place at the other university, University of Idaho. There's a murder over there. So it's violence going all around the country. By the way, that's going to most likely be a white on white crime. You know, they'll talk about black on black, but that's going to be white on white over there. There's 4 dead white students over there. We got 3 black dead ones over here in Virginia. So it's 4 dead white ones over there. So it'll be interesting to see how the media is going to do the whole black on black thing. They're going to try to probably spin this one a lot more from what I'm seeing right now. With Dave Chappelle, y'all, I just about gotten tired of these Jews. They throwing this whole anti-Semitism out here just at everybody now. I don't care what it is. It's like you just can't say anything. And I think a lot of people have gotten tired of it. I've been reading a lot of the different articles out here where there's people now starting to really speak out against this. Like Jason, guys, can you believe Jason Whitlock, of all people, is actually standing up against this stuff? Now, we know this guy is a coon. But when you got a coon that's actually standing up for Kyrie and standing up for Kanye, hey, man, I think the world is coming to an end here soon.
You gotta be over here laughing, bro. You know it's bad when the coon is like, all right, now,
Exactly. I mean, I can't believe it, man. This brother is actually standing up for Kyrie and Kanye when everybody else has turned against the brothers. And that's what's shocking to me, because normally Jason Whitlock don't stand with too many black people, man. You know that.
I saw that too. I said, "Oh shit, yo! I know he ain't sticking up for the homies. That's crazy."
Yeah. And see, that tells you right there, man. Charles Barkley and Shaq and all these other ones, man, they ought to be ashamed themselves, man. If this brother Jason Whitlock can get out there and stand with his own people, and he's a coon, then why can't you do it? You know what I'm saying? So that tells you right there, folks. Even with the coons, when they start saying, hey, man, we tired of this damn shit that's just being thrown out here like this, that means the rest of us can get on code, too. Jason Whitlock has gotten on code. Now, I don't know what has happened, but the brother has gotten on code. That means everybody in our community needs to get on point. And we need to stand up against all this stuff, man. We can't have these people just going after our people like this. We can't have them just going after Kyrie or Kanye, even though Kanye has said a lot of bad things about his own people. We still don't want them just fucking the brother over like that. You know what I'm saying? And any other black Americans that are being that's just being attacked by these people, we got to stay on code. And that's where I'm gonna land my plane at, guys. But this whole violence with the Charlottesville, and then of course, I told you what's going on over in Idaho. These universities, man, are just it's not safe to go to a college. If you can do your classwork at home or online, you just really come better off, man. And like Ray said, we still need to keep our guns. We need to keep our guns, y'all, because if you don't keep your guns, I'm telling you, these damn white supremacists would come up in your houses and they would just go after you. Okay? Which, by the way, Newstoter, I'm going to mention this too, man, because I think I tagged you guys in, you and Ray and DJ, and I know I tagged Black Native. That situation up there in Buffalo, that's another thing we need to probably add in with this rest of this stuff, where that white guy was going to go in there with that, I think it was an AR-15 in that clinic. And the security guard stopped that dude just in the nick of time. So this is why Black people, we got to stay alert. Thank God. And by the way, y'all, this was a few days ago. There's a clinic up in Buffalo where a white guy was going in to try to shoot. He's about to shoot up the clinic. The security guard stopped him. I don't know if y'all know about it because they haven't really put it out there. But this is why we got to stay on point. We got to stay on code.
Hey, real quick. So, Professor, one thing, you can't trust no coon like Jason Whitlock. Even if it seems like you're trying to get on code with us, that's a dangerous person. For them to do all that cooning, and then all of a sudden they want to come jump on our good side. I don't trust them.
Yeah, you got a damn good point there. It's hard to believe, man, but he's really been standing up for Kyrie and Kanye, man, and that's what's so shocking, man. Because normally this dude would go against you. You know, he don't typically.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Real quick, Professor, let me get back to you. But Black Native came back, so I want to get a chance to hear what she's got to say because I don't know if she was having some phone issues. So let me go ahead and get the Black Native just to make sure that we don't lose it real quick.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Newstoter. My other phone went dead. That's how I was trying to have it be brief with the shooting over there in Charlottesville. From what I understand, this is what my niece told me. They knew he had a gun on campus. So that's questionable. Like, why did they allow this man to have a gun? They had came back for some type of field trip. As soon as they pulled up, he just started shooting people. So I really don't know what's going on. But I know she was speaking on the news because it was by her dorm room and she could hear the gunshots. So just thank God, because that's my brother's daughter. That's my niece. She's up there studying physics, and we're in North Carolina, so I know my brother was like going crazy because that's his only child. But thank God she's okay. I want to speak on David Chappelle. I saw the skit, the Saturday Night Live skit. I had to watch it because I kept seeing his name in spaces. I'm like, what did David Chappelle do this time? Because he doesn't care. He's like the Kanye of comics. And all he said was there's a lot of Jews in Hollywood. And he said a lot. And so, but where's the lie? See, this is the thing. They try to censor us. They try to censor Black people when we're speaking out and we're speaking the truth. And we're like, nah, we're tired of that shit. Now they talking about, can we all just get along? I just read a tweet from somebody from the ADL talking about our history is almost exactly the same. No, it's not. You insured the slave ships, and you also had slaves in this country. We didn't have you in slavery. We actually went and fought to help you get from under Hitler's tyranny. So we're not the same. We're not the same. So we're gonna stop that bullshit. And whoever tweeted that out today was getting dragged by our people. And I'm so glad that we're all getting on one accord and seeing through the bullshit. Because what they thought was going to happen, that we were all going to just turn on Kyrie. They was going to do a Nick Cannon on him. He was going to go on an apology tour. That's what they thought. But then we was like, hey, you know what? Guess what? We're going to boycott the NBA. They're like, wait, hold on now. We made a mistake. Everybody started backtracking. Even Shannon Sharp, who sits there on television with Skip complaining about white supremacy all day long, but he can't seem to leave these women alone who birthed these white supremacists. So he's a hypocrite. Jason Whitlock, I don't know if we're in the Twilight Zone, But that butterball, for once, finally actually spoke the truth. And we're gonna see what happens with his career. But I think he got fired anyway, so I think he's doing his own podcast. Also, remember that article I sent you with those 3 black people that were found dead at an Airbnb in Mexico, and they tried to say it was carbon monoxide. I think it's something else to it. I think these people were poisoned. Probably was hanging out with some Mexicans. They slipped something in their drinks because somebody said they had came to the room and it smelled like gas. I believe carbon monoxide is supposed to be odorless. That's why they call it the silent killer. So yeah, that's something we also need to address. I think I sent that to you in your DM, Newstoter. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and listen in. I got my phone charged up, so I'm gonna go ahead and land on that. Thank you.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you did send me that, and I tweeted that out last week as well too. About the what was it, 3 or 4 of them that went on vacation together and mysteriously died. So yeah, we you did send that to me, and I believe I tweeted out as well too. I can't remember if that was from Atlanta Black Star or or Black Enterprise that actually published it as well. But yeah, I definitely remember you sending it to me as well, sister, and I also tweeted out as well. So thank you, like I said, and thank you guys for sending me stories and stuff like that. Sometimes there's been stories we've already covered, and sometimes the stories that we don't even know about. So I definitely appreciate that as well, because you can't cover everything. So it's always good to have eyes and ears elsewhere all throughout the nation. That's one good thing about that we're on this Twitter space, but so many of us live in so many different cities and counties and states and stuff like that. So you can never know what's all going on with Black people, but you guys definitely help. You definitely help us get the word out there. So we definitely appreciate it. Let me go ahead and kick it to Patricia. I'm sorry, Patricia. If I'm misspelling your name, I apologize. Patricia.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
It's just got a C. Just imagine it had a C in it.
Okay. How you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm good. Hello, family. Shout out to the host and the co-host and all my Black people in the building. Listen, even coons have a motto, and what I mean by that is, they've been so they've centered their life around being what they can around white folks, go get white girls and do all this stuff and talk bad about their people. That there is a point where they realize they're Black, and then for that short period of time they get all cold. Example: when Obama first gave his presidential address, I remember they showed the camera on Clarence Thomas. He was jumping up and down and cheering and all this stuff, and I'm looking like, huh? So there is a point, but I just wanted to point that out. But as far as Dave Chappelle, awesome comedy gold. He did a fantastic job, and I will say this: all these comedians out here, you all need to go and kiss the ring. This man, as hard as these people want to cancel him, they can't do it. And the way he moves, y'all, turning down that $50 million was the best thing he could have ever did. And now he's not even beholden, and he can make a deal with Netflix that's going to pay him so he can say what he wants. But they can't cancel him because like he said, he had no shoe deals. He had no clothing deals. He had none of that other stuff to where people were really over him. He runs his empire. And us as Black folks, that's where we need to get to. So that they can't just, at the drop of a dime, cancel us at any time. So shout out for real to Dave Chappelle for keeping comedy, because y'all, there was about to be no more comedy. And this man stands on his square when it comes to making people laugh and making light of everything. That's what comedy is. So great shout out to that foundational, and I land. Thank you so much for letting me speak.
All right, no problem. Ray, go ahead and unmute your mic.
I just wanted y'all to see what's in the jumbotron. We talk about Jason Whitlock. Jesse Lee Peterson, that's super cool. This man got his a white man gave him a cotton picking sack. He's out here doggone posting up talking about these are my roots. I just wanted to definitely say that. As far as Charlottesville goes, no, not Charlotte, yeah, Charlottesville. Obviously, no one wants to see this happen. Gun owners more than anyone wants to figure this out because we want our rights. We don't want people infringing on our rights. What we really need to talk about is these gun-free zones. That is the problem that people just do not want to discuss. I want y'all to really think about this now. So, how do we defend the president? We do it with guns. We defend our congressmen with guns. Governors, celebrities, sporting events, jewelry stores, banks, office buildings, factories, courts. We all do this with guns. But when it comes to our children, they want to put up a damn sign that says this is a gun-free zone, don't come here. That makes no sense in any practical sense of the word. That's why these things keep happening, because these people that want to do this bad stuff, they know that the only person that's going to be there with a gun more likely is them. And these people don't want to, these people are cowards that do these types of, mass killings and things like that. They're cowards. They don't want, they want a high body count. They don't want to shoot out the police. And if you put people in these positions, so when they decide they want to do evil, to put their ass down, that will discourage other people. That's really
Ray, if I could just piggyback off of what you said, I asked my niece, I said, do you have security with guns, or do you have police in there with guns? She said, no, they don't have that on the campus. And I've been saying we need metal detectors in these schools and armed security in these schools. That would be a deterrent, but for some reason they don't want to do that. I just want to add that.
No, that's actually a very good point. That's stuff that they could definitely be adding into, because what schools do have the doggone metal detector? The black schools. All the black schools got them.
We had them in Brooklyn for years.
Exactly. It's these common sense things that I feel like they could do to put in place that won't violate anyone's Second Amendment. But no, they don't want to do that. It's easier for the Democrats, and I'm pointing at them because they're the ones that push all these bullshit. Easier for them to actually, pivot to just, okay, we'll just restrict, instead of actually getting to the root of the problem, solving the socio-economic problem. They don't want to handle that though. They just want to take the easy way out. And people are so naive that they'll just give up their rights, because they want to feel safe. But in the end, you're taking away your freedom and giving it to the government. The same government that we constantly complain about oppressed us for 400 years. We want to give them the guns back? That doesn't make any sense. I'll land there. I can go. Y'all know I can roll on, especially when it comes to these guns. I'm sorry. I'm a land there.
Real quick, before I kick it to you, Professor, I just want to read this from the New York Times. This is just still about the Dave Chappelle. I'm not New York Times. I'm sorry, the New York Post. And let me just touch up on this real quick. It says, why Dave Chappelle's Saturday Night Live monologue just wasn't funny. Y'all excuse me because I'm on the actual site, so if some pop-ups and stuff like that come, there might be a pause between reading. Dave Chappelle had a Saturday Night Live audience mostly eating out of the palm of his hand Saturday night with his opening monologue. But in a bid to skewer our preconceptions on anti-Semitism, all he did was feed into the most common, most boring, ill-educated tropes, give them a platform on network TV watching it. I did Tina Fey style eye roll. Yes, Dave, everyone knows Jews run Hollywood. Oh, ha, bloody ha. Let me just reach for my depends. You made me laugh so hard. Yes, Dave, everyone knows Jews take off multiple holidays that you can't even pronounce. Yes, Dave, everyone knows the Jews run the media, and let's face it, the entire economy. While we're at it, I'll let you in on a secret. We run the White House too. And let me just introduce you to my cousin, Mr. Rothschild. Chappelle went on to say, I've been to Hollywood and no one get mad at me. I'm just telling you what I saw. A lot of Jews, like a lot. Amid slight titters from the crowd, he added, but that doesn't mean anything, you know what I mean, because there are a lot of black people in Ferguson, Missouri. It doesn't mean we run the place. The most troubling part of his monologue came when he brought up Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving. Kanye got into so much trouble that Kyrie got in trouble. This is where I draw the line. I know the Jewish people have been through terrible things all over the world, but you can't blame that on Black Americans. The line was met with crickets until a single audience member whooped. Thanks. The one person said, woo, Chappelle said. Can we all just remember that? Can we all just remember that Irving was not blasted because he's a Black American? He was called out because he posted a link to an anti Semitic film for which he apologized somewhat late in the game. And this is where we get to the point awfully and often raised by British writer David Badul in his book Jews on Count. Because people think we have power, money, and entitlement, it's fine to mock the Jews, even in the guise of making fun of the tropes of anti-Semitism. But there are just 7.6 million Jews in America out of a total population of 330 million, and we can't all have millions in the bank or monopolize an entire industry. Still, Chappelle said that the delusion that Jews run the show business is not a crazy thing to think, but it's crazy to say out loud. He also said of Kanye, it's a big deal. He had broken the show business rules, the rules of perception. If they're Black, then it's a gang. If they're Italian, it's a mob. If they're Jewish, it's coincidence, and you should never speak about it. Chappelle has made millions from cutting his barbs on being Black. He's renowned for being one of the sharpest comics. Following Saturday Night Show helmed by longtime executive producer Lorne Michaels, who is Jewish, Chappelle fans were quick to praise him for his biting commentary. But it takes one Google search to find the recent uptick in anti-Semitic attacks across the world, and jokes like Chappelle only help fuel the fire. Yes, comedy is supposed to be provocative, and this by no means a call to banish Chappelle into the hinterlands of social media purgatory. Please spare us the cancellation police. All I'm saying as a Jew, I can safely tell you, Dave, you just weren't funny. So that's just, like I said, and you have quite a bit of articles like that. You have other people saying that they should take some kind of action against Dave Chappelle as well too. But this one here, this author at least said, well, he wasn't funny. Not talking about canceling him, like in the cancel culture that we hear about so much. But this is just this author's opinion about it. We've heard far worse, and people haven't been canceled or anything else like that. So I really, everybody knows that Dave Chappelle can go in on his own people with the race draft and this and that and all this other stereotypical stuff he says about Black people. And then you have the Jewish people, because like I said, when I put out that tweet about Sarah Silverman and her blackface, you had all kind of people coming out trying to defend it and stuff. Like, it's part of comedy. It was another Black comedian there with her. It was just a skit. It was this. It was that. It even had some Negroes sitting up here talking about the same thing and trying to go ahead and give Sarah a pass while going ahead and talk about Kanye and Kyrie deserve whatever they get. So this is just a perception that we see with a lot of people. Let me go ahead and kick it to Professor. Then we'll get back to you, Black Native, and then we'll get to you, Ray. And then I'm going to touch up on this actual, I want to also touch up on the actual analysis about the Democrats and having the Gen Zers and the actual millennials actually come from what they're saying and really gave the Democratic Party a boost in this past election. So, Professor, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, thank you again, Newstoter. I'm just going to say with Dave Chappelle, he just needs to stand his ground. There's no need for anybody to cancel the brother. He made a funny skit. I liked it. I don't care what the Jews or anybody else think. I think what he said was right on point. Of course, he's a comedian. He makes jokes. That's what he does for a living. Everybody had to just get over it, man. The Jews got to understand, man, you can't just be one group out here thinking that nobody can say anything about you. Everybody talks about Black Americans every day. They say all kinds of negativity about us. So, hey, you're going to have to take the heat just like we have to take the heat. I mean, who you think you are? I understand you've been through some trials and tribulations in history, but hell, we've been through a lot more. So, I'm sorry, I can't have that much pity on the Jews, and that's how I feel about that. Now, with that being said, going back to what Ray was saying about these guns, we need to keep our guns, everybody. I went today, as a matter of fact, and I had let my license expire back here some years ago. And I said, man, I got to go get this license back. I got to go get this, cause one thing about it, Black Americans, when you are having these guns, make sure you be legit with these guns. definitely keep your gun, but make sure you be legit, because one of the things they'll try to do to you, if you're not legit, they'll try to say, well, I had to shoot them because they had the gun illegally. See, you know, they already want to shoot you anyway. But one thing about it in this world, y'all, in America, as Black Americans, we got to make sure that we stay on point and stay legit. So if you don't have your gun permit or gun license, make sure you have it. I went and got mine again today. Like I said, I had it set up for a couple of years and didn't have it. I said, I need to get this thing because the way things are going, I need to make sure that I be on point. I need to be legit. I got the guns. I got that. I'm definitely going to have mine. But I want to be legit. You understand? So Black Americans, definitely stock up because we got some heat coming our way. Black men, you need to be prepared more so than anything. But Black men, we got to prepare the Black women. There was a study that came out back here a couple years ago about Black Americans were buying guns at a higher rate than any group in this country. Black women in particular. Now, a lot of sisters out here need the brothers to stand up and lead the way as we get ready to get down in the trenches. That's where it's headed to. And we need to be able to take the sisters out there to them shooting ranges, and we're going to show them what they need to do. I'm just telling y'all, this is the reality. Because you see in America, man, the Caucasoids only understand violence. Now, I told y'all back here a few minutes ago about what just happened recently up in Buffalo, that there was a white man that was going up there, it was another white dude that was going to make an attempt to shoot more Black people at a clinic up there. So stay alert, because these folks are everywhere. They want to take us out. Black men, you got to take your proper steps to train the ladies, prepare your families. But we most importantly, we got to be the ones on the front line. That's the most important thing right there. We got to be the ones on the front line, but we still need to prepare the sisters so they can be ready too. Because trust me, white men take their wives and their girlfriends and their daughters out there to them shooting ranges, because I have seen them. Right here in my little small town, they go out there to them gun ranges with them little white girls out there shooting hell out them damn guns. I'm telling you, they preparing them. So that's what we have to do. I land my plane right there.
All right, appreciate that. Got a couple new speakers. I want to give them the opportunity to speak. Let me go ahead and we're going to kick it to Greg, and then we're going to kick it to Numi. Go ahead, Greg, and unmute your mic real quick.
Peace, Newstoter. Peace to the speakers. Peace to the listeners. On the Dave Chappelle, man, it was funny. You know, they talk about anti-Semitic and all that. He was making common jokes that were made by most people, mostly Jews, on themselves. So the jokes told, but the irony of it all was, how many times did he say nigga in the monologue and nobody said anything? That's all I wanted to leave there. At least 3-4 times he said nigga and nobody said anything about that. So the anti-Semitic tropes and all that is full of shit, and it's hypocritical because they don't make any sight on when Black people, like the brother said earlier, when Black people are shamed and all that and using derogatory words. They don't say a thing about it, and that's the hypocritical thing about the small hats that I had to say. And that's all I had to say. Thanks, Newstoter, for the space. Keep it going, brother.
Appreciate that, Greg. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Let me kick it to Numi. Go ahead and unmute your mic. Numi, are you there? Can you hear me?
Wait.
I heard you just a second ago, but I heard just. Are you there? Think she may be having some audio issues. We can come back to you if you're having some issues with your connection. Let me go ahead and kick it then to this is not Volvo Rants. Let me go ahead and kick it to this is not Volvo Rants.
What's up, my brother? Appreciate you letting me speak.
What's up now?
Again here.
Appreciate.
For sure. I just want to touch on the all the anti-Semitic shit, not just the Dave Chappelle shit. I've been in and out, so I heard you reading an article or something like that. Somebody was just trying to dismiss what Dave Chappelle is saying, and they scared, brother. That's what all this shit is about. They scared that because they know that they don't fit the description of the real Jews of the Bible. That's what they scared of. That's why they keep trying to silence motherfuckers and trying to take motherfuckers' money and all that type of shit. What they say? If you want to hide something from a black person, put it in the book. Most people don't read the book, so they bank on that. But they don't want these black celebrities with these black people. Period. As far as I'm concerned, all black people celebrities. Everybody stare at us, look at us. They want to be like us. Everybody is they on our tail. But they don't want black people to look and say, what is this really about? Let's see who these really. What make you the chosen people? The chosen people is supposed to be in trouble, until God comes save them. The chosen people is supposed to be in trouble. They don't fulfill the prophecy. They used to own slaves. They funded the slave trade. That's not in the Bible. It says the chosen people would be slaves, not own slaves, not fund the slave trade. That's what they afraid of. Motherfuckers keep trying to say, oh, it's about money. They don't want to pay the money. They is the money. They create the money. They is the money. Money don't just fall out of thin air. They are the money. They control all this shit. And they being exposed now. And we the only ones that can expose them. Ain't nobody else about to stand up and against no Jews. You would never see a Latino or an Asian or one of them other races stand up against no Jews and stand tall on what they saying. We the only ones that can do that. So that's what they afraid of. They are afraid that they gonna be exposed. They are afraid that we gonna look at it, that we gonna look and say, what make these people so special? Because what they said, that ain't good enough. They don't fulfill the prophecy.
Think we lost you. Think we lost you, bro. Okay, I think we lost. This is not Volvo. He gets a chance to come back, but Noombi, I know you was up here, but we lost connection. Is your connection okay now? Noombi, can you hear me? Alrighty. Can you hear me? Hey, Ray, can you hear me? Black Native, can you hear me? If you guys can hear me in the actual Twitter space, somebody say something. Oh, damn. Don't tell me we done lost the audio with everybody. Can you guys hear me? This. Anybody, can you guys hear me? I think Ray is right. Like something done happened with the space. Like, I don't know, like the space is just. Can you guys hear me? I don't know what happened. We may have to start this space all over again, guys. Can you guys hear me? Let me go ahead. Ray, can you hear me? What I may do is go ahead, y'all, and start. Yeah, Robbie, right. I think they got me in the matrix right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this space all over again. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start it back from the people on YouTube. Y'all hang out. We're gonna go ahead and start this thing back real quick. Let's go ahead and start this thing back up again. I don't know what happened there, but we will start it back. Nobody knows what the hell happened here. Yeah, they got us in the matrix. Yeah, we're trying to go ahead and start this space back, y'all. I don't know what in the world happened. Space was going fine. All of a sudden, we just lost. We just lost connection. I don't know what happened with the actual space. But we're gonna go ahead and try to get this space back on if we can. Twitter is tripping right now. Hard. I don't know what in the hell happened here. Let me go ahead and we were just starting to cook too. Somebody, I believe, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody on Twitter didn't report the damn space as well too. Because that sometimes happen as well when you on here and you're covering topics that people don't particularly like. They start going ahead and they start reporting the spaces and getting everything shut down as well too. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna try to go ahead and get this thing rolling back in a second here. I haven't had this happen in a space and I don't know when, so I don't know what the hell happened here. In the damn matrix. Ain't that about a Let's see if we can get this thing back rolling here, man. We're rolling in 1 second, the next second. I have no idea what in the hell happened But we are gonna go back. We're gonna resume this space because the dialogue was actually starting to get pretty nice before the connection issues or whatever happens. So let's go ahead and get this thing rolling, rolling, rolling. What in the world? Alrighty. Matrix issues. What in the hell? I have absolutely no idea what happened here. One minute we're on, the next minute we just lose everybody. Can't hear anything. Can't hear any audio. Can't hear anybody talking. So let's go ahead and try to get this thing back up and about. Let's go ahead and get this thing back up and about. Good Lord. But when it rains, it pours. Jesus Christ. We should have the Twitter space back up and running in a second, everybody. Let's go ahead and get this thing up and running. Up and running. Let's go ahead and get it up and running. Jesus Christ. Just mess the goddamn space up. Okay, y'all, we about to start this space back up again. I have no idea what happened. All I know is we was grooving, then we lost our people in the space. So we're gonna go ahead and start this thing back up. I don't know what happened to the space trouble. We was in it. We was in it. I don't know what happened. We just got. I don't know what in the hell happened to the space. Like, we was up in the space, and then all of a sudden we just lost everything, y'all. So I have no idea. This is the first time I seen that like this here. So that was crazy. That was absolutely crazy. Everybody. I'm trying to get everybody to talk and whatnot, and all of a sudden I don't hear nothing. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know what happened to the space. I was trying to get folks to talk and whatnot, and all of a sudden we lost it. So hopefully we can get our people back in. We had us a nice space we was building. Unfortunately, I don't know. The powers that be, they crashed it. So let's hope that it doesn't crash this time. We haven't had that issue. Try to go ahead and get everybody back in the space that we can. Hopefully everybody will see that the space is back up and they'll come through. So we'll definitely try to get this thing going. DJ, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. And it's all good. Maybe your power went out again or something like that.
Nah, man. That only time that happened was during the hurricane. All of a sudden, like, I was cool. I ended the space because I kept trying to call everybody. I was like Black Native and whoever was speaking. I was trying to get them to speak. I couldn't get anybody. So I'm like, I don't know what happened in the space, man. I'm like, I'm trying to get everybody, but everybody was pretty much gone and whatnot. Like, they were there, but I couldn't get anybody to say anything. Like, it was no volume in the space. I was like, I don't know what happened. Let me go ahead and end the space. Let me just go ahead and end it and bring and start it back up. So I figured that we'll go ahead and we'll start it back up. I see Ray's having some issues. Like, let me see if because Ray was having some issues right there too. So, hey, y'all, we'll start it back up, y'all.
I was speeding down the road trying to hurry up and get home, and as soon as I pulled in my driveway, I couldn't hear nothing. I was like, dang, my Wi-Fi just went back. So I left out and came back in, and next thing I know, as soon as I got in the house, it was like, so was having issues. Bloop. I was like, look at this. Got me speeding down the road for nothing.
I know. And the conversation was going so nice too, sister. Ray, I keep giving you the co-host thing, and this thing is talking about 2 people are allowed to co-host. So what I want you to do, Ray, is to leave the room, come back, and see if that'll clear it up, so we can get you to come back and be a
Hey, let me drop down too, because here's the thing and shit. For whatever reason, when you send that co-host thing, it's like different notifications. So depending on which one you accept, it'll let you in the room normally. But the other one, like you in the matrix, y'all. This shit is crazy. So I'm gonna drop.
Yo, it's still janky as hell right now. I can see the way it's running. Like
right.
Yeah.
I
already did that. I already did that.
But look, do it again, my boy. Even while you are on Twitter.
If I all in one, it's gonna end the space again.
Nah, but don't boost it though. Just don't boost it. Do everything else. Do the sweep, the clean, the CPU and the power and shit. You know what I mean? Twitter is like a fucking processor hog, yo, and a network hog, yo. This shit is crazy. These spaces, yo.
I'ma just keep it the way it is. We just gonna ride out like this, because I don't feel like even going through all that again. So let's just go ahead and the space. We'll get it back up and jumping. Ray, what's up, man?
I'm gonna say this: there were some people that were unfamiliar in the space. I'm gonna just say that. And it seems like as soon as we start talking heavy about, a certain people, space.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's all I'm gonna say. But I'm gonna say
that was Mr. Karen in space. I don't know. I was just saying that wasn't Karen in the space.
Kind of eavesdropping, seeing what we talking about, and then we start getting a little heavy. Like I'm saying, space cuts off for no reason.
Yeah.
Did you see her? That Karen that was in space?
I saw a white lady that. I saw a white lady at the bottom of the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you why. The reason, and this is why the guy y'all said, the Whitlock, whatever the guy y'all said, the cool. This is about politics. Jews are Democrats. Okay, so the white lady was in here not to spy. The white lady, they're against Jews. Okay. And that's what this is about. Jews are Democrats. So that she wasn't in here not to be on your side. She was going here because they rock. That's why Kanye West came out saying it. That's why the people that say that Kanye was right and Kanye was right when they're white, It's because they white. It's Jews. You understand that?
It's definitely like they sit back looking at, the names of the room and then decide to come in like that, because anytime we are in a space, I don't care who's hosting, and depending on the topic of the room, that's when you see all of these different faces all of a sudden they pop in.
Yeah, I saw a couple folks that and I've actually the actual one white lady, I've actually seen her in the space before. So I've seen her in there a couple times before, like I said, but I've never had that issue that we just had in Black Native Sister. I'm trying to get you up here. I'm sending an invite to speak, but it just, I don't know what it, like I say, it's just tonight that the space, it just, because Ray, he's still listed as a speaker, even though I sent him the co-host. DJ is out. So it's just one of those things that the space is just, yeah, you hear, but I'm saying as a co-host, like it's pretty much eliminated all y'all from the co-hosting spot right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and Vovo, Vovo, go ahead and talk, man.
Well, did y'all hear what I was saying? Because it just went out.
I'll play the space back. I'm gonna say that where you stopped at, bro. You was just basically saying these motherfuckers don't run shit. We should have the answer to them type talk. You know what I mean? Who the fuck is they? The small answer.
But there must be somebody though. Like if we think about it, they just cut the space off. You can't even mention their name. Who the fuck are these people? Who is this? Like what's going on? You can't even say their name.
This what happened, Vovo. Like the space that y'all couldn't hear me. I kept calling y'all name, but nobody in the space could hear me. Like I kept calling. So I just say, well, let me go ahead and real quick. Let me I just say, let me go ahead and end the space and start it right back so we can get, because y'all couldn't hear nothing I was saying. Like nobody could hear anything I was saying. So I was like, damn, we just lost total volume in the space.
Right. I see somebody down at that bottom down there. I think is that Sister Victoria's, our favorite troll. I see her down at the bottom down there.
That's Val.
No, that's Val. Val ain't no troll. Yeah, I can hear you, sister.
Not Val. It's the one down there named Runner. See her down there? Yeah, the one named Runner is actually Victorious, everybody. If you don't know yet. That's Sister Victorious.
That's Mimi too.
That's Mimi too.
I'm not a troll, but you can go ahead with it.
Yeah,
I'm not a troll, but you can go ahead with it, brother. You can go ahead with it.
Yeah, you know, Sister Victorious. I show you love, Sister Victorious.
I'm not a troll. You can go ahead with it. I ain't said nothing.
Hey, just to get everything back, because we got our people coming back in here, so we want to get this thing. Let's as disorder as it is right now because they jacked up the space and whatnot. I want to go ahead and get back on the actual topic and whatnot. Let's go back, start hitting this stuff. So for those that just came into space, I got everybody on mute right now. I'm going to unmute it. We've been talking about the Dave Chappelle skit, the pushback that he's getting from the ADL in the Jewish community. We've also been talking about Charlottesville shooter today that killed 3 people up there in Virginia. We're going to get to the Gen Z vote, the Gen Z and the millennial vote, and how they went ahead and their vote was believed to have really helped out the Democratic Party in the past midterms. And we also talk about Black women. We had a lot of hate going on against Black women on Twitter lately. A lot of people sitting up here making up lies about that Black women don't want to talk to anybody other than if you're a thug and this and that, and Black women are tired of Black men and Black women this and Black women that. You had this African cat up in here, and I sent him the invite too. African cat up here, he's posing with like 4-5 white girls, talking about Black women ain't nothing and Black women are too ghetto and Black women are this and that or whatever. He may have missed a little memo of the other African dude, Nigerian dude that got clipped by that OnlyFans model. So if I was him, I'd be really careful how I tread talking about Black women this, Black women that, where you posing up with Becky. So I kind of watch my step right there, but not to go ahead. Like I said, I want to get back on topic, y'all. I'm glad everybody's coming back in the room. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get back on topic as much as possible because they have jacked up this room tonight. They've jacked up my co-host and everything else, but we're going to still keep it the way it is, y'all. We're going to ride out and it's whatever. So let's go ahead and get to Trouble. I see you got your hand up.
Black Native hadn't had her hand up before I did. If you want to shoot it to her.
I'll go ahead and let you go because Black Native, she's already spoke, but we're gonna get back to her. We're gonna get back to all our other speakers in here too, but we're just trying to let some of the new ones come in here and speak as well. So if you want to pass it, that's fine. But if you got something you want to say, you can go ahead right now.
Okay. Shout out to the room. I was thinking about it earlier when there was another space and people was mentioning it. And if you notice, the small hats always love to mess with our Black men and in a particular way. And it's always when I'm looking at it like from Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, the Black community had a problem with him because he came out in one of his little things talking about how we need to pull the pants up and whatever else it was he said. So the Black community had a problem with him back in the days and pretty much never forgave him. That made him an easy target. Then Kanye's been saying some off-code things that made him an easy target. Kyrie had said some things, and I think somebody had mentioned that he had some women on the yacht, but he didn't want Black women on the yacht or something like that. So why does it sort of feel like they wait for the right time to come after the Black men in the community who we've already got some slight issues with? And it just, as soon as they say something, bam, it could be the slightest little thing that they could look over. They go directly to them and want to pull them up into the forefront. You know, that's what's it's kind of curious to me that the ones that have an issue or have said some things are the one that they've been coming out after. It's like there's an easy target and they don't expect us, you know, to have their backs. They've been doing it for so long, you know. As far as the whole, a brother had mentioned before you had went out about the old saying that if you don't want Black people to know something, put it in a book. And I just want to give a little pushback on that. Maybe we don't read all the different types of books, like, you know, when they put certain things in the books, like if you read just straight Jewish books or whatnot. But they handed us a book a long time ago, the book that they wanted us to read. And that was that Bible. When they say, well, if you don't want us to find something, put it in a book, I must insist that, they wanted us to read it, but who gave us basically the interpretation of what the Bible had meant? They gave us their interpretation of what the Bible had meant. So everything that we really needed to know, if we want to look at it from a different perspective, was right there in that book. But we've been looking at it from their perspective this whole time. We didn't think to look at it from a different perspective. You know, so we read books, but we're reading it from a whitewashed, you know, a white-centric point of view. They gave us their interpretation of what it meant, and we just rolled with it. And when you do things for so long, year after year, decade after decade, century after century, it becomes embedded and ingrained. And so anytime somebody comes and says, think about it, let's look at the Bible from this perspective, now nobody is like, that's blasphemy, you're talking against God, because that was one of the main reasons why I left church in the first place, because I got tired of hearing that you can't question God. When I'm not questioning God, I'm questioning what you're teaching me, because it don't sound right. It sounds kind of contradictory. And I kept getting kicked out of Bible studies. So I got tired of all of that foolishness, you know. So I think there's a lot of moving parts, and we just really got to sit down and come up from about this world for a little while, and just kind of get recentered, refocused, and start thinking about things on a different level. I'm gonna land it right there. I had a different thought, but I'm gonna land it right there. Y'all know I'm on.
All right, thank you, sister. Let me go ahead and give a shout out also to Rena for her contribution on Cash App. I'm gonna go. Winner, we're gonna let you go ahead and touch it, and then, guys, I just want to go ahead and hit up on this next article, last article that I got for the night. It's about the Democrats, Gen Z, and the millennials and their impact in the midterm. So, like I said, we can go ahead and we can talk about that. But as always, we can definitely go back and touch any article or any topic subject tonight that you want to. I just like to go ahead and get the information out there. So if anybody wants to cover something, they can. But like I said, you're more than welcome to talk about Dave Chappelle, Charlottesville. We also want to discuss Black women too and stuff like the nonsense they've been dealing with here on Twitter and just some of the idiotic things that people come up with in their minds and whatnot that I just really don't even understand a lot of times what they're talking about. And maybe I really don't care about what they're talking about, but since they want to constantly put Black men, Black women, people want to play this divide game and this and that. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna talk about that as well too. So let's go ahead, winner, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna touch up on that article. Then I'm gonna get the Black Native. Everybody, keep your hands up because, like I said, I just want to touch that article real quick, and then you guys go ahead and just flow the way you want to.
Lord, I wish you would go to that article. I'm just here. I'm just listening for the most part. You know, Dave Chappelle. But I will say this: Dave Chappelle is a brilliant griot. He is a griot is a person that keeps the history of our people and can tell it in new generation ways. And Dave Chappelle knocked it out of the park on SNL. He just did brilliant, talented. There's no level that anybody else can be on but him. And I'm just so happy that he's a Black person, that he's in our camp. So anyway.
All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and touch up on this article real quick, y'all, and then we can go ahead and move forward. For anybody that wants to speak on any topic that we're talking about tonight, please feel free. We just want to go ahead and just put this out here for the people. And it's from CNN. It was published on CNN. It says, analysis, Democrats would have gotten crushed this election without young voters. Democrats have done a lot better in the midterm elections than a lot of pundits and analysts had anticipated. They're favored to hold on to the Senate and look to have kept their losses in the House to a minimum. In doing so, Democrats have defied historical precedent, which suggests the president's party loses significant ground in midterm elections. President Joe Biden credited in part historic turnout by younger Americans for the strong Democratic performance. A look at the data suggests there probably wasn't a surge of youth participation relative to the rest of the electorate, but it does suggest that Democrats defied election expectations this year because of a historically large age gap that saw young voters overwhelmingly back Democratic candidates. The lack of a youth surge becomes quickly apparent when you look at the exit polls. Voters under the age of 30 made up 12% of all voters. In every midterm in the last 20 years, this group has made up 11% and 13% of the electorate. Other data too shows that younger voters did not make up a significantly larger portion of the electorate compared with prior midterms. Now, overall turnout is likely to be higher this year compared with most past midterms. It could therefore be argued that younger voters did turn out in larger numbers than they have historically, but that is true of every age group. While they may not have made up a larger share of the electorate than normal, young voters still made their presence felt. Democrats would have gotten crushed without young voter support. Democratic House candidates won voters under the age of 45 by 13 points, while losing voters aged 45 and older by 10 points. Breaking it down further, the House Democrat candidates won voters under 30 by 28 points. That's an increase from their 26-point edge with this group 2 years ago. This is significantly different from other age groups, the exit polls show. Democrats lost every age slice of the electorate 45 years and older by at least 7 points, including a 12-point loss among senior citizens aged 65 and older. What is perhaps especially interesting is that voters under 30 seem to vote significantly more Democratic than those aged 30 to 39. Voters under 30 are partially Generation Z, those born after 1996, and partially the youngest millennials. Voters between 30 and 39 are the oldest millennials. These older millennials were the strongest supporters of Barack Obama during his 2008 primary campaign and eventual rise to the presidency. This year, they backed Democratic House candidates by only 11 points. Notable, today's Democrat Party relies on the youngest of voters in a way that historically hadn't, at least not until the last few elections. Consider the first midterm, 2006, when millennials made up a significant share of the voters under 30. Democrats won 60% of their vote, which isn't all that different from the 63% of voters under 30 they won this year. Remember, though, that Democrats easily won the House popular vote in 2006, while they'll probably lose it by a couple points this year. In fact, Democrats won every age group under 30, 30 to 44, 45 to 65, and 65 plus in the 2006 midterms. The difference in support for the Democratic House candidates in 2006 between voters under 30, 60%, and those 65 and older, 49%, was 11 points. This year, that gap was 20 points, 63 versus 43%. Going back further to 1990, the last midterm one, none of today's voters under 30 were alive. There was basically no age gap. A similar percentage of voters under 30 and those 65 and older cast ballots for Democratic House candidates, 52 and 53% respectively. When you look at these changes, you can see why Biden was so eager to praise young voters. He's absolutely right that they were a vital part of the Democratic coalition. Tuesday's result, though, wasn't because they showed up in large numbers. It's because those who did show up were so Democratic. All righty. I just wanted to go ahead and get that article out there for anybody that may want to speak on that. Please go ahead and you can see the importance right now. And we said in another Twitter space that the actual, I believe Gen Z or the millennials now are actually a larger group than the actual baby boomers. So at one time, the baby boomers were the biggest population in this country. That's no longer true. I can't believe if it's the millennials or Gen Z, but one of those two have replaced them in terms of their actual raw numbers. So just to go ahead and put that into perspective. Black Native, and then we're going to get to you, Volvo. Go ahead, Black Native.
All I'm going to say is anchor babies. This is what I believe. I believe the younger generation, the ones that, what they said from like 1997, born around that time, 1994, the millenniums, I believe those are the anchor babies of the people who came in the late 70s and early 80s. Those are their children. And so we got a problem. We have to reach these people now. I'm not saying, if you want to vote, but if we're trying to hold the Democrats' ass to the flames or to the fire, we have to reach the youth. And so when you were reading that article, the only thing that came to mind was anchor babies. I wanted to go touch back on Chappelle. I watched some of the skits, and he threw in like all of his old characters from the Chappelle show. He had the crackhead. He had, I think, the dude, the pimp. Now, all of these derogatory, especially the crackhead, all of these derogatory characters that were black, nobody complained about that on that show. Everybody was laughing. And just like the brother said, he said nigga like about 3 or 4 times during the monologue. So this shows you that they don't give a damn, how other people see us. That anti-blackness is deep and is rooted. As soon as he says something about Jewish people in Hollywood, that was a problem. And when we spoke about it, they shut your space down. I know that's the reason why it got shut down. And also the Jewish people own the Federal Reserve, so they control the money. So we're not going to keep playing with these people like we don't know what's going on. But that's all I want. Oh, and the black women. Let me speak on that. Now, the African dude who was posted up in a picture with a fat white chick, some other blonde head bimbo, and somebody else, and talking about, he's decided that he don't want to mess around with black women. This is, Snow Bunnies is where he's at. I commented, in which I shouldn't have. I shouldn't even pay him any attention. You stay keeping black women in your mind and in your mouth. So if you really wanted to just be with white women, you ain't even have to say nothing. Just go ahead and go. Just go ahead and be with them. And the women he had in that picture looked stink anyway. So I don't know what he thought he was doing, but he better remember that other African dude they got stabbed up from his OnlyFans, and then want us to come and back him. Now we done with that. So I just want to land on that. Thank you for allowing me to speak, Newstoter.
No problem. And that's what I was mentioning right there. Like, he was up here shining, but that, like you said, that same African cat that's dead now, his brother was trying to get everybody to back him and stuff like that after he got killed, and was talking about that his brother was in high school, and that those posts were so long ago, and this and that or whatever. Now you got another one, and it never fails. Like, you always have, like, it seems like, why you have these brothers from Africa sitting up here running a yap about black American women while sitting up here with like 4 or 5 white chicks on the picture. Like, I don't really even understand that, considering the fact that my man, you coming from a whole continent full of nothing but black people. So what does that say about you and how you view the women in your native land? How do you view the women in your family and stuff like that? You want to sit up here and you want to try to throw diss to black and with this whole ghetto thing, we know you're talking about black American women. So like I say, you may want to go take that up with your mom and your grandma and your aunties and your cousins and all the rest of the people in your native land before you start dissing our women and stuff like that. And you may want to actually get you a little refresher course on what happened to the last African dude that set up here and that wanted to play the big buck on the plantation. I mean, he ended up getting done up by this girl right here. And let's see how much time she actually gets for killing this dude as well, too. So that's going to be interesting to see as well, too. Let me kick it to you, Volvo. I'm going to kick it to Professor, and I'm going to kick it to Trouble after that.
Yeah, with the African coon dude, he know what's going on. He's seen the story about the other African dude that got killed. Some people just like that. That's just what they is. It ain't nothing. Can't nobody reach him. Can't nobody talk to him. These people know what's going on. They ain't dumb. They just coons. They just like that. It's just who they is. It ain't nothing that nobody can do about that. He can't even do nothing about it. That's just what it is. I wanted to touch on the article you read about the younger generation and they supporting the Democrats. The Democrats are very liberal. These kids today, these young kids, our time is past. Whether you like it or not, I'm a millennial. It's their turn now. I'm almost 40. So you know, like they got more energy than us. They got more. They give a fuck less than us. It's their turn. Period. It's just their turn, and this is a very liberal generation. Like she brought up the anchor babies. She absolutely right about that. You got to think these people come from conservative cultures. A lot of them come from conservative cultures. So their parents came over here and just wanted to keep their head down and not make no trouble. They ain't into none of that shit. They want to come out here. They want to twerk. They want to be niggas. They gay. They want to do drugs. They very liberal. This next generation that's coming up behind us is very, very liberal. They want to be as free as they can possibly be. They want to do whatever feels good. So of course they the ones that turned out. You know what I mean? Because they fight now. This is their time. This is their time to make their stamp or whatever. And as far as earlier about, I guess we got to say the small hats now. I never thought I would be the type of guy to say that, but I don't want the space to get shut down. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, to the point to where we can't even mention these people's names. Like, who the fuck? Like, these black men are saying something. They saying something. And Sus touched on when I said, if you hide it in the book, if you want to hide something from a black man, you hide it in the book. What I was saying is that most black people ain't never read that. They don't understand that. Now, she mentioned the interpretation, like we got the white interpretation. That's correct. Now we get in the black interpretation. Excuse me, we get in the black interpretation. Now, as we get the black interpretation of the book to see who really fits the prophecy, now we holding it up against common sense. And we saying who really fulfills the prophecy. That's what they afraid of. It ain't the money. It ain't none of that. They ain't scared to pay these men or they scared to mess up some money. They scared of being exposed. I appreciate you letting me speak, bro.
Yeah, not a problem, bro. Not a problem. Let's go ahead and Professor Trouble. I'm not sure which one of y'all was next. I'm not sure which one.
No, Professor, you was next.
Oh, I was yielding it to you, sister. I can go after you.
Okay, I just wanted to. I got my little thoughts back together. I wrote it down so I won't forget. Okay, so as far as all of the posts that we're starting to see about black men vexing black women vexing black men. The only thing I want to say about that is the Most High said 2/3 of us wasn't gonna make it. So if you don't plan on making it, then you keep on vexing each other. Otherwise, get it together. The rest of us gonna be all right. Dave Chappelle. You notice anytime, like when Kanye said what he said, the next thing you know, they ran out with their little funky, flaky ass stats talking about, the hate on Jewish people has spiked up. It's anti-Semitism has spiked up, and they're attacking us. Okay, then it died down a little bit. Kyrie posted a video, no comment. They ran out again. Oh, the hate against Jewish people is spiking up again. Now here comes Dave Chappelle. He just did something on Saturday. So how the hell are y'all running out talking about, the attacks on you all is spiking up again? I must insist, we had 4 years of a MAGA president that wanted to make America great again, which signaled in my mind that you wanted to take it back to the days of the slaves where we had to hold our head down and say, yes, the master, and step to the side, walk on the sidewalk, and y'all had that free money, But out of all of the things that y'all were talking about as far as making America great again, we had black churches being burnt down. We got our college and universities and things being burnt down. We're being taunted. We got signs with nigger and all of these different things all over the place. And not once did anybody run out and say, the Mongettes are spiking up anti-black hate in the black community. But every single time some comedian or some celebrity or somebody said something about their community, they always run out with these, and I'm going to call it fake ass stats, talking about how crime has been spiking up against them. Why is your community the only community when somebody speaks out against you, the only community that all of a sudden the hate just starts spiking the hell up on? That's a little bit curious to me, and it's a little bit annoying at the same damn time. Gen Z, touch on that. I had said in a previous space a few years ago, I had seen my boys watching Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens video, and it was kind of shocking and unnerving to me because I don't like them two clowns. But this generation is a whole new generation. They're not party centered, at least when I'm listening to my kids' conversation with the other kids that they're talking to on Discord. They got vexed. They got it in for the liberals and they got it in for the conservatives, but they're having an equal mix of different voices that they're hearing things from, and they're agreeing with them. Now, I've always, for the most part, for most of my voting years, pretty much voted Democrat. So that was kind of annoying to me. But now kick it a couple of years later, and now I'm kind of getting it a little bit. So I'm not 100% mad at them. I'm kind of curious what they're going to do when it's their time to vote. Now, my son recently turned 18 years old. But when I asked, and the first thing the school did was sign him up to get him, registered to vote. But when it came time to vote last week, he didn't want to vote because when we went through the website to see all of the things to vote, there was nobody that he wanted to vote for. He said he went and he looked and went to everybody's websites or whatnot, and he just didn't see anybody that was worthy. So he decided, like mama, not to go out and vote. So this generation is a whole new generation, and I'll land right there.
Okay, who is this lame that's in the comments section right here? I don't even know who this chump is. Tubman House Center or whoever. Like, he's been like mouthing off or whatever. Like, I don't even know who the hell this person is, but he's more than welcome to come up in this space. So I don't even know who this cat is.
That's not a he. That's a she.
That's a girl?
Yeah.
Talk about Tubman House Center. Tubman House Center for Reparative Justice is a woman.
That's a woman.
Oh shit.
That's a woman. Yeah.
Oh my! I'm sitting up here thinking this is a dude. I'm going by. Oh my god!
Invite her up, and you'll find out exactly.
Oh my god! This is the comment. This is the comments that she done left out. Newstoter, you're a sideline entity. You're not in the mix. Stop talking about life we live. You pretending and sympathize at best. F out of here. Then I told him to get lost. Talk about your mama. Talk about y'all from Jersey. Y'all tough, right? I'm from Philly. Pop up. You want your internet self-interest, stupid MF-er. Like, I'm thinking this is just another loudmouth fool up here running his mouth or whatnot. This is actually a female.
Yo, I don't know why my Philly niggas swear they could box so good. Like, I'm from the home of Hagler and Shakur Stevenson. Like, shut the fuck up.
Really?
If you want to come off I-95, you can meet me in Bricks, nigga. What the fuck I look like coming down to Philly to fuck with you, nigga? When y'all niggas down there retardo mode, sniffing dope, killing each other.
I'm not listening. I'm in Florida, so I mean, all this talk right you talking about. I'm not even in no Jersey, so I don't even know what this fool talking about. But anyways,
that's her name is actually Moriego.
Oh my God!
You're mad.
Oh my!
That's who that is.
That's Moriego, DJ. That's Moriego, man.
Oh my God!
Who sent you up here, Sir Major? Be honest. Who sent you up here, Moriego? Because you don't come over here and fuck with us. Fuck out of here. You know what I mean?
All right, Professor. Let you go ahead. We get the Professor, then we're gonna get the Black Pressure.
Yeah. By the way, family. Now, one thing you'll learn if you be in some of these spaces long enough is who all the trolls and loudmouths are. There you go. That's it. Because you'll just learn them. Come easy to you. But anyway, I'm gonna say this, y'all. Look up in the jumbotron, and you will see what I was talking about. You'll see a video of where this white supremacist went up into a clinic on Virginia, I think it was Virginia Street in Buffalo, New York. Take a look at that video and you'll see why I've been telling you, Black American family, keep your guns. Look at that video and you see what I'm talking about. Keep your guns because these folks are coming out of nowhere. This guy walked up into this clinic and he was ready to pop out some more black folks like what that white boy did earlier. Back here a few months ago, where he killed 10 Black Americans. So this guy, he was coming in to do the same thing. So these folks don't care. They'll try to catch us anywhere. It can be a grocery store, a clinic, a church, playground. You just have to be ready because they're popping up nowhere, man. These folks are ready to take us out by any means necessary. And hell, they say that all the time in those white supremacy meetings that they have. Hell, like I told y'all earlier, they got their daughters and their wives and girlfriends and mothers and whoever else all out there in them shooting ranges preparing. See, they got the women out there ready to fight too. That's why I say for Black American men, we got to do the same thing with our women. We got to prepare them. So that's just how it has to go down, period. But that's what I want everybody to look in that jumbotron, look at that video, and you see why I'm telling you, Black American family, get yourself legit with your gun license or gun permit, whatever you want to call it, and get your guns and be ready at all times. I land my plane there.
Thank you, Professor. Let's go ahead and kick it to Black Pressure. Black Pressure, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Black fam? Know what I do. What's up, News? DJ? Ray?
What's up now?
So, Professor, I never mind being the villain. So, I'm going to have the unpopular opinion tonight. So, I know that we were talking about our brother David Chappelle. Right, and there was a young lady earlier, so I apologize, I can't remember her screen name. She said something that was very true. When it comes to comedy, David Chappelle is a savant. He's outright, he is, I would rank him, me personally, I would rank him, he's number 2 in my greatest comics of all time. He's a literal genius. I still got Eddie Murphy 1, I would put David Chappelle 2, bump Richard down to 3. He's brilliant. There's no other words to describe him as far as the comedian. But it's one thing, like I say, I don't mind being the villain. I don't trust anybody that does not have a black wife. Don't trust them. I'll say this too. If you ask me who the greatest athlete of all time is, I'm talking about across the board in his sport, Michael Jordan, hands down. Greatest, not just the greatest basketball player, he's the greatest sports athlete of all time. I would never, ever want to meet Michael Jordan, get an autograph, shake his hand, nothing. Don't trust him. Michael Jackson. I worship at the altar of Michael Jackson. As far as an entertainer, he was untouchable.
I would never trust Michael Jackson. If any of these people I named, you gave me a choice of me coming together for a common goal to get something like a goal accomplished, I would just go at it alone if I had to depend on any of those guys. And I'm just venting right now. David Chappelle, his as far as a comedic point of view, he's untouchable. He's unparalleled with that. He goes up and he's blessed with the pop culture says gift of gab. He's blessed with the power of speech. But like I said, I just am not going to sit here and trust someone who has all this knowledge and the depth of knowledge he has about Black history and our condition and how he can make and infuse it into his comedy. I'm just not trusting anybody that has all that knowledge and you turn around and you don't marry a Black woman. And I'll land my plane there.
Appreciate that, brother. I may have to make a disagreement. And of course, that's your opinion with Michael Jordan being the greatest, but I might even have to take both.
That's a fact.
Yeah, he ain't greater than just all around athletically. He ain't greater than Bo Jackson now. No. We saw Michael try to play baseball, and that was kind of like comedy at his best. So, Bo, this brother here played football without even doing training camp. Just came straight off the baseball field and went right in there playing running back, ran over 250-pound people. Like he was a different breed of animal there.
No, I'm gonna have to say Mike Tyson and Serena Williams.
Mike Tyson?
And Serena Williams is married to a white man, but damn it.
Mike Tyson, though, his avatar is on for real.
Don't forget. Let's not forget. Let's not forget Muhammad Ali, a heavyweight with the speed of a welterweight. So you can name a lot of people in there. Like we can name a lot of people, but let me beat up.
Maybe make another room about that one day.
Yeah, we may have to make one about that. BW, and before I go to BW, let me give a shout out. Thank you, Valerie, for your contribution on Cash App as well too. Like, damn, these people had to mess the space up tonight. Like everything was just going like just smooth as hell, and all of a sudden everything just got thrown out because of this. Like we never even had a space like this before. Like this is just crazy. I just can't believe what happened, man. BW, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, good evening. I sort of agree with that guy when he said I wouldn't trust nobody that marry outside the race. I wouldn't because when you get with people outside your race, they really don't think like you. And the people that marry, most of them that marry outside their race, seem like they become passive, and they start to saying, well, making up excuses why things is like it is. And they're really not down for the cause because they don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. So I agree with that. And I did see that video about the guy was going to go shoot up the clinic. And I seen the brothers holding the guy down till the police came. But they're going to interview a foreigner who could barely talk English and ask him about, what happened. So, that's all I want to say.
Hey, just real quick, Sister BW, that was the same instance, I believe, with the Buffalo shooting. When Peyton Geiger traveled all the way from a whole nother town, hours away, to go to Buffalo to kill our folks. Didn't they interview a Black immigrant dude that could barely even speak?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. And instead of interviewing a...
okay. Talk about what just recently happened in Buffalo, where the other two brothers held down that white dude.
Right.
No, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
No, I was done.
Oh, go ahead. For sure. Yeah, that's crazy though.
I think that was a man and a woman that was holding him down. I think the one with the glasses was a woman.
I thought it was a woman, but I think it's a dude though.
It was a woman or a man?
I think it's a guy. I thought that too, but I think it's two guys. I think it's two guys.
Okay. Oh, okay. It looked like a woman was holding him down too. I don't know, but it sure looked like it. But it could be a guy that just had like long dreads, maybe. I guess.
Let me ask everybody in the space a quick question. And Black Native, she made a point about quite a few of the Gen Zers and millennials being anchor babies and stuff like that. But how important is it for the grassroots to go ahead and reach out to our younger brothers and sisters and stuff right now, and try to get them into the actual, what they're starting to see tangibles and stuff like that. Because if you're in my age group, I'm at the very tail end of being a Gen Xer. I'm almost a millennial myself, so I just missed that by a year or so. But how important is it for us, for those of us that's in our 40s, or even some of us in our 50s, and like that, how important is it for us to go ahead and reach out to the younger generation so they don't make the same mistakes that we made in terms of politically and stuff like that, just voting along family lines? Because our families were Democrats, we went ahead and we voted Democrats. How important, how can the younger generation be reached as well too? Because like we say, right now they're becoming a lifeline for the Democratic Party, which, if they want to vote Democrat, that's fine or whatever. My thing is that we want to start getting things for our actual votes and stuff like that. No longer just, it's just not our civic duty to just go in and just cast a ballot or whatever blindly, just close our eyes and, oh, Democrat, 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 Democrat. Because I know a lot of family members that they do that. They share each other ballots and stuff like that. They say, oh, okay, well, this is who we voting for. Oh, yeah. How many Democrats? Oh, this is a Democrat. This person's a Democrat. Like, without even hearing the other side or even hearing about what's going to be gained. So this is very crucial right now. Because like I said, we got the millennials. They're starting, because the millennials and Gen Xers aren't that far. You got a year or two apart from when that era actually starts to intersect, and the same with the actual millennials and the Gen Zers and stuff like that. So how vital, how crucial, how important is it for us to go ahead and I don't know if we would say mold them or whatever, but try to kind of get them to open their eyes up? Because we're definitely, if you're Generation X, you were definitely along the lines of your family members, your parents and stuff like that. They were civil rights and stuff like that. You felt that you had to vote a certain way until you got older. You started seeing things. So how crucial, how important is that? Black Native, I see you got your hand up. Did you want to respond?
Yes, I do. I think it's very important because now the Democrats are looking at who their new base is. It's the Gen Z. So now they're going to start targeting. They said later for the Gen X, and it's going to be the millennials and the Gen Zs. That's their new target. The baby boomers are already out, so they're not even really looking at them. So it's very important that we teach our youth to vote for tangibles. Don't just vote because I used to vote Democrat for the Democratic Party. I'm telling you, ask for something, demand, not ask, demand something for your vote. So this is what they're banking on. They're banking on it's going to be like a generational thing, and we definitely have to instill in them. If you when you go out there and vote, like the sister said, her son was 18 years old. He didn't see anything that he wanted to vote for, so he didn't vote. And this is what we need to tell him. You have to demand, because now they see they have a new base. So they're probably going to be like, well, later for them, we got a new base now. Let's target them. And so, yeah, it's very important. I'll land on that.
Thank you, sister. I appreciate that. Let me go ahead. Judge Sarah, I haven't had a chance to hear you talk, so let me let the judge go ahead. She hasn't spoke tonight, so Judge, please go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I've been sitting here listening, and to be quite honest with you, I'm disgusted. So let me just go into it. Okay, so the Dave Chappelle thing. Dave Chappelle was calling out Jewish people in a way in which they need to be called out. Here's the thing, you guys. We're Black people, and we have our own culture, and we have our own way of doing things. And as you know me, I am sick of being laughed, and I recognize that we're not supposed to be laughed. We're not at the bottom of the totem pole. We're not stupid. We're not, unintelligent. We're intelligent, hardworking people. And it's time that we become strategic, stop playing checkers and play chess. And I'm speaking in regards to what Dave Chappelle said. This is the issue with anti-Semitism. This is abuse of power, okay? Jews are in power in these different places. The media, they even said in the government. And so, do we call out, okay, is Jewish people doing this to us? Is it Jewish thing? Then it becomes anti-Semitic. You have to package it in a way it's going to be received. What you have to understand is that how they talk about us, how they treat us, everything they do is strategic and it's by design. Okay? So what I'm saying to you, first of all, about the Jewish thing, because everything is coming to light. I just believe everything happens in divine order, and our time is coming, and actually I think it's here. Okay? Kyrie, even crazy Kanye, they are exposing these people, but they're calling them Jewish. They're saying it's Jewish people. And it is Jewish people that are doing it. And they're doing it and they get away with it because it's abuse of power. So if we package it abuse of power in terms of Kyrie Irving, I think he has a lawsuit against them. Because what he was tweeting was about his religion. Okay, I'm not gonna go too deep into that, but they were in a position to harm him, and what they were doing was abusing their power. That said, I want to talk about the thing about the Gen Z, and I also want to talk about black men. You guys, I'm trying to figure out how to say this in a way where the masses are understanding it. People who look like me, the masses are going to understand it and be able to respond accordingly. Again, they do these things strategically. Okay, Gen Z. Okay, so whoever, like you said, New York Post, wherever the news media that is reporting the news, it's not objective. They have a angle. They have a vested interest in something. They want it to look or appear a certain way. This is why they write the stories in such a way. Okay, what I'm really angry about, and we have to be mindful of what is happening and what they're doing to us. They said black men are the blame for Democrats. And I'm like, what the fuck? And you gotta be mindful. Black men are they are credited for now allowing ineffective and inefficient politicians to continue to serve us. And I need to be calm. Why I'm angry, because we as a people keep buying into this negative shit about us. Okay? Let me be calm. We as a people continue to buy into the shit they keep saying to us. Black men are credited for now allowing the Democratic Party to abuse us anymore. That should have been the headline. The black men I know either they didn't vote or they voted red. Okay? And so when we say Generation Z, it's funny how they give credit to Generation Z.
Magazine in the building.
Excuse me? Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying Team MAGA. Go ahead, those you cooking.
No, but I'm saying, and you guys, I love y'all so much, and I don't like when I get angry like this, and I want to stop because I see what they're doing to us. I come from a corporate background. I know how they position things. Okay, when I read a headline, "Black men are to blame," I'm like, black men, they've done something. They took a stand. They utilized their power. They done turned that shit and flipped that shit. Some guy they turn around, whatever. Black men, let me calm. Black men are posting this. Black men are talking about this. And I'm like, no. This was you using your power. And it's men in the room, people like, they're going to hold their vote. And I was against it initially. And I was like, damn, they did that shit. They made a statement. Y'all made a statement, and they sat there and they flipped that shit. They flipped that shit, and then I see my own people reporting the same shit. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying when I get vocal like this. I don't know if I'm very articulate. I'm sorry. I'm a little angry. I just want y'all to see what they're doing. Okay, you cannot trust the stats. What's important, you guys, as a people, you need to understand the difference between a Democrat and a Republican. I'm a Republican. I've been a Republican for a long time. But the difference between a Democrat and a Republican is the amount of money you make. It's the taxes. Like, we have this big thing that we think Republicans are all racist. And I believe it's a lot of anti-blackness in the Republican Party because we're not in the Republican Party. If we were in the Republican Party and we was rocking with them, and it was a known thing, would it be as much? You understand what I'm saying? What you guys need to understand in this country, this is about power and money. All this country cares about, American way, is power and money. And however they gotta get there, they're gonna get there. And, I'm not gonna talk about black women because I don't do that. So in closing, I just want to understand what you say. David Chappelle is that's a free black man, okay? And he's not indebted. Even I'm sure it's Jewish people that will book him, okay? But even the Jewish people that are going, you can't cancel Dave Chappelle, and he made that point. You can't cancel him. You understand what I'm saying? So, Newstoter, as a news organization, I really would encourage you to tailor your stories to benefit in favor of black people. You understand what I'm saying? Black men, because you see, the whole thing, I have a whole agenda.
Well, real quick, sister, real quick, my real quick, we cover a bunch of different topics and stuff like that too. So we cover topics that benefit black men, black women, black kids, education. We also cover the news, the politics, lifestyle, culture. So what we're doing, we're a curation platform. So we have other black-owned media outlets that curate news to the newstoter.com platform. But we do, just as a quick correction now, we do cover stories that also benefit black men and also show black men when they are getting treated like crap by the police and the government and everything else. So just to point that out real quick.
No, absolutely, sir. You know what? I'm Newstoter. I was just on your site, and because I'm angry, I'm not communicating effectively. And to the people in the room, this is why it's important that we don't get angry. It's important why we get control of our emotions. See, I'm angry, and so I'm not articulating myself effectively because I'm angry. What I meant by that, Newstoter, is that, for example, the article you read, I blasted that chick on Twitter, okay? That was a Jewish woman who writes for the New York Post, okay? So she wrote what was in her best interest. Y'all came in this room and talked about how Dave Chappelle said nigger shit and all everything that and the third, but the only thing they called out was the things he said. And so what I'm saying to you is you have to be strategic in how you write and what you say. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not taking anything away from you. I thought all the great things on your platform. What it is, Newstoter, we're not crafty like that. Okay? We come from our heart and we say what is true and what is right. If we're angry and mad, it's because we've been abused and we're hurt. We don't have negative mean spirits. You understand what I'm saying? We're not trying to beat someone, you understand, to get $1. Okay? That's not the nature of black people. So we don't think, how I'm gonna do this. Do you understand what I'm saying? The way they write these articles, it's a purpose, it's a reason, it's a thought. What they continue to try to do is negatively frame us. And what I've seen when I come in this room, that many of the people who look like me, they believe it. And I'm telling you, don't believe it. Don't believe the hype. This man said this thing in the room, and my heart hurts when I hear that. If you want to hide something, put it in a book or some shit. The first time I heard that was on Clubhouse. I ain't never heard nothing like that in my life. First brother's name, Black DJ. You hear these black men, they kick your knowledge. How you think they got it? They read a book. Okay? So what I'm saying, do you understand what I'm saying? You told
Oh, I understand what you're saying, sister. I understand what you're saying.
these articles and they do these things to harm us. My heart is hurt because I'm like, what did we do to y'all? What did we do to y'all that it is the white supremacist collective conscience, this country, unspoken rule is to harm black people? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I see it. I come from a corporate background, so I understand marketing. I understand how you position things and how you make people think and believe things. If you live in one neighborhood and you see all these signs, you believe the signs. To get the example, y'all saw that movie on Netflix, Alice. She thought she was a slave. They had the whole people in there enslaved, and they thought they were still in slavery time. She left and it was 70. It's like you live in an area and they pumping this shit with information in your area, and it's all you know. You believe it. And I'm here to tell you that this is not true. This is by design. They specifically try to make us look negative. I'm gonna tell you one quick story, and I'm gonna go. I'm sorry, but I apologize for being so angry. My feelings continue to get hurt when I sit and I listen to this. Y'all remember a long time ago, these three girls, the girls were in this restaurant, twerking and dancing. Okay? That shit was on New York Post. Talk about black women twerking and dancing. I come from a hospitality background when I was in college. Restaurants, hotels. White girls get white girl wasted and acting food. The New York Post put on the New York Post, black women were twerking in the restaurant. Black people were, oh, why they doing it? Why they doing it? And I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. I hear black people ridiculing these women who they were partying in a restaurant. And I'm here to tell you, white people do it all day long. You understand what I'm saying? The point that I'm making, this article was in the New York Post, and it was to shame us for who we are. When it's a term, white girl wasted, they act a whole fool, white girl. I worked in restaurants and hotels, they get fucked up and act a fool, talk shit, act crazy. But they gonna post, when I saw that in the New York Post, I said, they really this made the post. And so what I'm trying to say to y'all, this is how they keep trying to frame us to be. I mean, everybody in the room, you know who you are. Look in the mirror, you know who you are. You know you're a smart person. You know you work hard. You know what you do. You know how you move in this country. And I'm saying, you have to stop believing it. And Newstoter, that was not like, I go to your site, and I'm just saying, I know you don't come from that perspective. Your perspective is I'm reporting the news. 20 years ago, that's what it was. 20 years ago, you didn't even talk you was a Democrat or Republican. 20 years ago, you wouldn't talk. You understand? 20 years ago, news was objective. You just gave the facts. And that's what you're trying to do. Am I correct in saying that, Newstoter?
Yes, ma'am.
And so the point that I'm making, you know, when you're a Rome, you have to act like the Rome. I'm going to be with that, Newstoter. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, sister. And the reason that sometimes we cover some of these articles because we know they're anti-black and we want the room to actually discuss it and whatnot. So that was the whole point of even that post from the Jewish lady from the New York Post, because she couldn't hide her bias against Dave Chappelle. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and cover that topic as well, too, because there are articles on newstoter.com that I don't agree with, but I still post them on Twitter because I want to hear the actual people's response to some of this stuff right here as well. So a lot of stuff there's stuff on the actual site that, you know, I don't agree with. There's articles from conservative sites and from Democratic sites and this and that. And, you know, some of the stuff I may agree with and some of the stuff I don't. But the main thing is just letting people also hear it so they can formulate their own opinion. So I knew, because I've seen the New York Post with all their negative articles and stuff, and a lot of these major mainstream medias, because like I say, they can go ahead and they can knock the space down again, but I know who controls the media. I know who controls the banking system. So I don't care who gets upset and who doesn't like it. It's still not going to change. At the end of the day, we know you can sit up here and talk about you just as downtrodden as black people and this and that, but black people don't have a fraction of the wealth you have or the power. And they outnumber you. They outnumber you by 4 or 5 times, and yet they're still 1,000 times poorer than you. So I don't care who gets mad and who doesn't like it. And they can sit up here and talk about that he was playing into these stereotypical Jewish tropes and all this and other stuff like this and that. But at the end of the day, like I say, we know who has the money, we know who has the power, we know who has the clout, and we've seen many a times when they want to shut somebody down, that person gets shut down. So.
Newstoter, the goal is for us to get the power. That's the goal, brother. Like that, I'm glad you read that article because I'm making a list and I put that chick on the list. Okay, I understand you're just reporting the news and you're trying to do what's best for us. But what we need is power, right, people. Well, our condition, all this shit I'm reading about, they snatching women in Kansas City, they doing all kind of stuff to us. And I'm not the bow down kind of person, okay? And I know that we can get the power. Like they got the power. Like I just showed y'all. If you don't know, black men was very influential in the polls, and it's not being said anywhere. I'm the only one that recognizes that. And it's black men in the room. DJ, how'd you vote? How'd you vote, DJ?
MAGA gang.
The whole thing. I'm trying to tell you, and when I hear you about what we have and don't have, but we don't.
And I'm still a registered Democrat, but you know,
That's what how you vote. Every black man and other brothers whom I know, they held they vote. The girl even said her son was like, so when I'm saying to you in that article about Gen Z, that was purposeful. That was a liberal magazine, a liberal article trying to dissuade Generation Z. Let me tell you about Generation Z. Okay, what's going to happen with them when they acting cool and being all liberal? When they start making money, when they make over $100,000 a year, they ain't gonna be Democrats no more. I promise you. I'm gonna land there.
Appreciate that. Let me go ahead and get to Trouble and BW. Trouble, go ahead and unmute your mic, and BW, go ahead. You'll be next.
BW was up for the longest period of time. BW, go ahead, so I'll go after.
Okay, BW, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Well, I did what you said. Should we tell younger people about politics and vote for tangible? Absolutely, because these the younger people is our future. But we got to be careful.
Hold on 1 second, Trouble. Hey, DJ, I think your mic might not be muted.
Okay.
Go.
Did you hear anything I said?
Yeah, I heard you. Go ahead, Go ahead, BW. I'm sorry.
Okay, but I'm saying, was my mic off all that time?
No, your mic was on. We just heard some feedback. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I just look at it like the younger people. You got to be careful now with these younger people because they think they know everything and they get mad. So you just got to sort of like get them involved to hold a conversation. And then I think it's up to us to explain things to them. We got to sit down and talk to them and explain to them and get their input. And also the people who do a lot of involvement with younger people in groups, they need to talk to them too as well, because that's the only way they're going to really be informed. Because we don't really, some of us really don't sit down and talk to the younger people, and they don't really know what's going on. And that's only because we don't talk to them like we're supposed to. And I know that guy was saying he was a Democrat. They said you're supposed to change it on the, if unless you just want to stay a Democrat, you're supposed to change it on the ballot if you want to be an independent. Even if you vote different, you're supposed to change it. So that's all I want to say.
All right. Thank you, sister. Thank you. Let me go. Also, let me give a shout out to Harold. Harold, thank you for your contribution on Cash App as well. So thank you. Definitely appreciate that. Let's go ahead and get to Trouble. But Trouble, before I get to you real quick, I just want to mention this real quick. Did you guys know that they had this guy online, this man, it says HIV positive tourist shows photos of black women that he infected with AIDS back in 2020. So he was taking all these pictures with these black women. Come to find out, this joker was up here infecting a bunch of black women with AIDS and stuff. And it's also another story I'm looking at real quick. Somebody posted, let me see if I can find this story real quick. Y'all give me 1 second. Jesus, I just came.
Can you say that one more time? What happened with some AIDS?
Yeah, it says a HIV positive tourist shares photos of black women that he infected with AIDS. So this tourist here, he was sharing all these photos of these black women. And let me see, I'm going to go ahead and put this up in the space right here. Showing these photos.
I thought they were African women.
No, it's not just African women. It's African American women as well. And I thank you for saying that. I was so appalled about that. And he was so freaking happy about the degradation that he did. They are pestilence.
And then also real quick, I'm gonna share this in the actual jumbotron as well too. It says a Kansas City Police Department detective accused of preying on black women and girls for decades faces life in prison after being indicted on charges of conspiring to hold young women in a condition of involuntary sexual servitude. So I just went ahead and I also put that up.
He got murdered. He got murdered last week.
Well, I mean, I don't know if this one got murdered right here because they talk about that he's indicted on charges. So I'm not sure.
No, the one that's in the States right here, the one that's in the States, not the one that was like spreading HIV all across Africa, but the one in the States, he got murdered.
Okay. Well, like I said, I don't. This one here, I'm not entirely sure, but I just put it up in the jumbotron anyway, so you guys can go ahead and take a look at that. And like I said, we also had a bunch of people up here talking about black women, this and listen, talking about that black men prefer white women, and that's a lie. And I'm getting tired of hearing that. The vast majority of black men are in relationships with black women. They're married to black women. They have kids from black women. They're not the leading group of dating outside their race, no matter what TV shows. Just because you look at an NFL game or NBA game and half of the players out there mixed or whatever, or you see them bunch with a draft that you see with a bunch of white girls, does not mean that that's representative of the entire black race. Most black men are attracted to black women. They love black women. They want to have kids from them, get married to them, and this and that. So that is a lie. That's not to say that we don't have interracial dating and marriage and stuff like that, because we do. But to sit up here and try to make black men the face of it, and to sit up here and talk about that black men are not attracted to black women and that they want a woman with white features and this and that and light skin and all this and that, that's a crock of BS. So I had to call it out because, like I said, I've been hearing a lot of people talk about black women the past couple of days, and that black women, if you're a clean cut guy, black women don't want you. They only want a thug nigga and all this. And that's another lie too. That is a lie. There are a ton of black women that are married to black men, date black men, and they're not dating black men that are thugs. So that's another lie. And I want to go ahead and put that lie to bed as well too. Let me go ahead and Trouble, were you next?
Yeah. I just wanted to speak to the point about the children and this generation. I agree with what BW said. We have to continue to talk to them, and those conversations are kind of hard because when speaking with my children and even my niece, I know she said to me one day, she was like, "Aunt Cookie, would you be upset if I told you that it's true?" Because we were talking about politics rather. And she said, "Would you be upset if I told you that it's hard to take you all's advice because you're the ones who kind of messed up the world the way it is right now?" So as far as politics, yeah, but it's how they're thinking. They hold their conversations, and a lot of times I sit back, I listen. I don't interject much, because I'm not supposed to be listening, but I'm listening, and they really have it in their minds that it's the generations past who has the world messed up and that they're going to have to be the ones to fix it. But like BW said, they really think they know everything and still have yet to learn how to wipe that behind properly. But that's neither here nor there. It's if we go into the blame game, then I would have to blame my mama's generation. She would have to blame her mama's generation, and so on and so forth. And so where does the blame stop? There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to who is to blame as far as why the world is the way it is, and as far as politics and black people is concerned. We're constantly learning. We're constantly evolving. We're constantly seeing the trick bags that we didn't once see a generation before. So I generally don't try to play that blame game business, and I reject it wholeheartedly. These kids today have tools that I didn't have growing up, and I had tools that my parents didn't have growing up. So they're, we do have to keep constantly talking to them and engaging with them, but they're on something different, and so I don't always know what to say. I know what to say when I'm talking.
What did you say?
Not they're listening or not is a whole thing, because they're thinking that they have a grasp on it, and sometimes you got to slip in it and fall in it. You got to get that experience before you could really understand. We all had to get to a point where we all had to come to a point to where we had to understand what it was our parents were trying to tell us, and then make those moves and go from there. To Judge's point about when she said Dave Chappelle is unbought and unbothered. So that's why it's kind of hard for him to clip his wings in the way that he did.
Hey, Zeb, hold on 1 second and raise your hand, Zeb, if you want to speak. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So that's why it's kind of hard for them to clip his wings in a manner in which they would like to clip his wings, because he has this. He, like someone said, he turned down that $50 million. And maybe they wanted to buy that. They wanted to buy his life if we do it and we let it fly. See, they can't clip his wings the way they can clip everybody else's wings. When Judge said, why do they hate us so much? What is it that we've done? We survived. We survived up under so many different harsh terms. They've killed a lot of our revolutionary leaders. They killed the leaders or the so-called leaders that they tried to give us with, that Martin Luther King spoke on their terms. He was nice and let's not fight, let's not be violent, let's love one another, blah blah blah, and they unalived him. We had Malcolm with the different type, the opposite. He was unalived, and then we had our black revolutionaries with the fist in the air, and they did the damn thing with them. You know, they got rid of them, and we are still here. We're here from the days of the slaves up until this point. We keep getting knocked down, and we keep coming back. That's why they mad at us. They mad at us because they don't understand how it is that we do what we do. And also, you have to understand something about white people. White people can do things against their own interests, and they'll still find somebody else to blame for it. They've never forgiven us for becoming free when it was their own leaders who, because of their own interests, freed the slaves. So in the same token, they're still mad at us because we got free. Even though we didn't free ourselves, you know, they're mad at us for being free. They're mad at us because they can't still use us as commodity to a certain degree.
But they still don't understand how we survive this long.
All right, Zeb.
Shut up, because I'm like, she got me fired up.
Yeah, but when you come up in here, Zeb, like everybody else, you got to raise your hand because because then you're cutting off other people who waiting as well too. So and then you're cutting the person off that's actually speaking. So just raise your hand and we'll go ahead and we'll get to you. Let me go ahead and get the Ray. Ray, go ahead and unmute your mic.
I'm gonna go ahead and pass it, brother. I ain't gonna lie, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay. Let me go ahead and get the Black Pressure real quick. Then I'm gonna get the Professor, and then I'll get to you, Zeb.
All right. So I'll say this about the Gen Z and I guess the tail end of the millennials. I definitely have many criticisms of generation Gen Z with they're trying to skew gender and the tranny shit and all the gay shit, all the stuff that they're into. I will give them credit though. As many criticisms as I have of them, as I have of that generation, I will give them some credit. And I can use some personal examples. They're the generation that is doing the things that we dreamed about doing. Like me, I was born the last year before, I was born the last year of Generation X. So I was born in 79, right? So my mother taught me, just I'm sure like most everybody in here, go to school so you can get a good job. Just like my mother's generation, my grandmother taught my mother, go to school, you get a good job. My grandmother's generation, and my grandmother told me this out of her own mouth, don't look a white man in his eye. They had to get off the sidewalk when the white man was coming, all that stuff. They had to tell her, if a white boy was 10 years old, they had to say yes, sir, and no, sir. So, like I said, you can see the millennials now and Gen Z, they're the generation that is saying, look, man, I'm not working for nobody for the rest of my life. I have a cousin that's 25 years old. This dude makes about 35 grand a year. He has a job, but he makes about 35 grand a year, and all he does, he makes like 2 or 3 videos a month, and he does tutorials on Call of Duty on YouTube. Dude, I mean when I say you would hear 30, 40 grand a year, oh, what's that? But to a guy that's living with his mama, and he has a 9 to 5, and he says, man, he said if I had time, make more videos. He said I could double what I make, but like I say, he goes to school and he has a little 9 to 5 job. Definitely this generation here is taking advantage, like the sister said before me, taking advantage of the tools that we didn't have at that age. We have those tools now, but like you look at us now with kids and, husbands, wives, jobs, different, priorities and stuff. we don't really have the time to put in it like the kids now. So, like I said, I will give this new generation credit that they're the generation that is doing the things that we dream about doing. So I'll land my plane there.
Definitely, I appreciate you. And I'll say this one thing, Black Pressure. I know we talk about the a lot of the confusion with the sexuality and this and that. And let's be honest too, even though like this is affecting probably the Gen Zers and even to a degree the millennials, let's be honest, it's the baby boomers and even the Gen Xers that went ahead and started passing this stuff and pushing this stuff on and this and that. So yeah, a lot of them are going through it and this and that because you had older generations tell them it's okay and stuff. Oh, it's okay if you were born a boy, it's okay to say you're a girl, and it's okay to do this and do that, and you're a boy, it's okay to go and talk about your woman. I mean, it was actually the baby boomers and stuff like that. So yeah, it's affecting them, and they're the ones that's that they've been targeted or whatever. But let's be for real, in terms of passing this legislation and all this other stuff, these bills and everything else, it's been the damn baby boomers, and it's been even the Gen Xers that went ahead along with this stuff, and it has been pushing this to the point that, hey, the millennials and the Gen Xers are the ones that are getting hit with it. So we have to go ahead and
I'll say this, News. That's an absolute fact. What you're saying is true. Let me say this real quick, and I'm gonna bring it down to Black culture. I think you and I are in the same age bracket. So if you remember, like me, I graduated high school at the end of the 90s. So I remember like homosexuality back then. If you were gay in the late 90s in high school, it was a death sentence for you to come out. And I'm not saying we was going to harm you. You were just going to be ostracized. You literally would be a pariah if you came out and said you were gay. That was still something to be ashamed of. Like even my grandmother's generation, you didn't see that. That was still something, that was taboo. And like I said, our grandmother's generation, they would call a man who dressed up like a woman and a woman who dressed up like a man and dressed provocatively and went out in public, they would still call that a shame. But you look at this new generation now, shit, that's it. And you better not say nothing about them or else something is wrong with you. And like I say, I won't go that deep into it now. I'll land my plane.
All right, appreciate that, brother. And I'm agreeing with you. I graduated in the late 90s and stuff too. And you had a couple guys at the school that was gay, and nobody, like you said, nobody bullied them or this and that, because I mean everybody knew. I mean, it was no secret or whatever. But you're right, it wasn't to the point that it was like widespread. It was accepted and this and that or whatever. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be able to live their lives and this and that or whatever, but I'm just saying, and I still consider even the gay talk different than people sitting up here talking about their transgenders, or they were born a boy but they're really a girl inside and this and that, and talk about getting kids hormone pills and doing surgeries and girls taping their breast. I mean, taping the breast down and stuff like that. I don't know. To me, that's just going too far there personally, whatever. You can say you are what you are, whatever, but the point of the matter is on your birth certificate, if you were born a female, then you're a female. And I understand you taking pills and having surgery and this and that or whatever, but at the end of the day, man, I mean, you're still what you are, what you were born. So
I've heard a rumor that they're actually taking that off the birth certificates, the gender of male and female.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, I was going to say that, News. They got now in some places, they're talking about legislation, like if you gender someone, they could like charge you, like they're trying to erase gender, like it's no such thing. It's white people and a social construct.
And not to cut you off, Black Pressure, but like we were just saying, and who's to blame for that? Is it the Gen Z? Is it the millennials to blame for that, or is it really the baby boomers? The baby boomers been pushing this shit since the late 70s, I should say the early 70s on. They've been pushing this stuff right here. And then they got a lot of the Generation X's that go along with it as well too. I'm talking about the older Generation X's, the ones that's 53 and 54 and that right there. They got them to go along with this kind of stuff too. So a lot of this stuff that these kids are getting force fed. You can thank the previous generations for feeding this crap down their throat, shoving it down their throat.
Can I speak on that right quick before y'all switch to something? I do too.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. And I'm gonna get to OG. I'm gonna get to OG because he got his hands up. So go ahead.
You know what they're doing now, Black Pressure. They're even rewarding the kids or like I know my cousin lives in Boston, and she was very upset because her son's school had a coming out day on Mondays. So every Monday they had a new kid who would come out on Mondays, and they would celebrate that kid. They would celebrate him. And so one day her son wanted loving attention. He decided he wanted to do the coming out day. Now the teachers did not inform her that his day was coming up the following week. She found out in a whole different manner through the other kids in the classroom who knew whose parents were friends with her, who came back and called her like, your son came out today at school. The teachers didn't inform her that these things were going on, that they were having these coming out parties. So it's things of that nature. And I've had to deal with my son having a teacher who was a woman, but she dressed with the baseball cap going backwards and pants below the hips, sort of type of thing. So you already know what time it is with that, where they're literally shunning the kids in the classroom. And he has one this year here that's pretty much doing the same thing. Boys on the right, girls on the left. Boys are told to shut up and be quiet, and the girls are allowed to do whatever and be loud and raspy. Girls are all up in the boys' faces, but the boys aren't allowed to retaliate or say anything back to the girls, or they're punished for it. We'll have a meeting with the school next week about that foolishness. But this has been happening in the school little by little. You go inside the classroom, teacher got, pictures of their same-sex spouse right there. Another son came home one time, like the spouse came up to the classroom and they were kissing on each other and patting them. It's ridiculous what we are accepting inside of the school systems and all around. I mean, I knew it back in the early 2000s when I was living in Boston, when they started having billboards of the same sex. Like it just came out of the blue. So I just want to speak on that. It's wow.
Real quick, y'all, for those that's listed as a speaker that don't have your hand up, that don't want to speak, go ahead and drop down so we can bring anybody up that wants to speak. If you don't want to speak, go ahead and drop down because we got some people that's trying to request to get on. So if you're listed as a speaker and you're not here to speak, you want to speak a little bit later on, and go ahead and drop down, and we can go ahead and get you back up because we do have people that are trying to speak as well too. So let me go ahead and go to OG. OG, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay, appreciate it, Brother Newstoter. I kind of forgot what I wanted to say to some degree. It was before I got my pen to flow, and kind of wanted to respond to what Sister Judge was saying about that last part. First of all, I just want to say that, going back to in history, first we weren't allowed to read. Okay, some kind of way it was against the law. We weren't allowed to read. So now, ironically, we got people saying that, well, if you want to put information out and you want to get it around black folks, put it in a book. Or if you want to get it around black men, put it in a book. Of the notion that we don't read or we can't read. Okay. Mind you, I said that once we couldn't read, we weren't allowed to read. Okay, so now ironically, we're supposed to be able to read like champs now because, culturally, we were forced to learn. We were forced to do things. Okay. And the practice of it all, like as far as reading, the practice of it all is, what the Republicans, put into place in the form of pivoting. They're always able to pivot off of different issues. No matter what it is, it could be, even if it had been Trump shot somebody, they would have been able to pivot off of that. Okay? So you got to understand what I'm saying when I'm saying they having this pivoting power, whereas we don't have that power in movements. There's a difference in pivoting power in a political realm and pivoting power in a movement realm. Okay? And we're trying to make the differences compare in some kind of way, making our movements political spectrums. Okay, we're making our movements into political flights, whereas it's just a movement. And when they debunk it, when these movements get debunked, we we have no pivoting power because we don't know how to. Okay, I'm not saying that that's a good trait for the Republicans to have. It's just something that they've always done, and we must understand what these things mean and where does it come from. Okay, and what it comes about. Okay, we have to understand these things if we want to be able to keep up in the political spectrum. We got to learn how to pivot, just like we got to learn how to write grant proposals. You want to learn how to get yourself in the political arena. If you want to learn this delineation, if you want to learn whatever you want to learn, go take a grant writing course, and that will teach you how the process is started. Okay, with getting things right, with learning how to pivot. You know, if you get turned down, go and rewrite it, pivot, and keep it moving. And I'm just gonna land with that. I had something I wanted to say in response to Sister Judges, but kind of forgot that point. I'll have to hear her say it again. Thank you, guys.
All right, I appreciate that, brother. Real quick, Judge. Let me go ahead and get.
A Republican, I'm my party, you need to understand, some of you guys are my problem. You need to understand the difference between a Republican and a Democrat. Okay, and why are you voting Democrat? You need to ask yourself that. This issue y'all here with schools and all the stuff they talk about, that's a policy that in schools that they don't have to tell the parents. These are all liberal things that these are the things that Republicans are fighting with them. The gentleman is talking about pivoting, and you're saying when something happens, they spin it. And what I'm trying to encourage us to do is to spin it in the same right. I appreciate that. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that. Okay, honey. Thank you.
All right, appreciate that. Let me get to One Love Black.
Hey, Newstoter. Hey, DJ. Hey, everyone.
Hey, how you doing?
This is Rella.
I'm about to say, like, the voice sounded familiar. Like, what happened to you? What you got? Your other account got closed?
Yeah, I called Shannon Sharp a good Negro, and they Twitter, I guess, locked my account. So that's actually my main account, and Twitter locked it.
So I just went ahead and followed you. Okay.
Okay. So I've just been sitting kind of in the background, listening to everybody, and honestly, I can't say that anyone is wrong or right. I've heard so many different people, from different generations, having their perspective, given their, experience, right? And so here's my 38 years of experience. So I should say my adult life experience, probably. What I realized is you don't really necessarily need to know the difference between a Democrat and Republican, more so than you need to know the history behind parties. The people who actually run the parties, particularly, are the same people who have self-interest in government, and they have conversations amongst themselves, and they bid on the highest dollar, right, in government. I think most of us know that. At the end of the day, the Democratic Party were staunch slave owners. They were for slavery. It's not to say that Republicans weren't, but we had a little bit more of a leverage with the Republican Party. But because of a lot of the lynchings and the murders that happened, if you do not know about the original 33, you don't know about what happened, why the Louisiana massacre happened. You need to go read about that. Read about the other Black Wall Streets that were burned down, not just Tulsa and in Greenwood. Like, go really deep dive into some information. I was on a call with someone for a long time, and the one thing we did realize is we were reclassified so many different times and there was a reason for that. We are definitely going to work to try to uncover more of that as we do invoke the freedmen language and understanding what the freedmen language was, why the United States governments moved away from the freedmen's language in regards to the 13th, 14th, and the 15th Amendment. And I think it was the states and those representatives that you mentioned earlier, Judge, between the parties had something to do with that, because Andrew Johnson was a tyrant. And if you don't know who Andrew Johnson was, find out about him. The other thing is, in today's time, I think with our youth, not just our youth, but even the older generation and my generation, there's still bridges to be built. If you are alive and you have breath in your body, there's bridges to be built. When you do a lot of reading in history, you start to see why they were tired. You start to see why they, the generation that came after, felt like maybe they didn't have to fight in certain ways and they could try to do certain things. And they thought maybe if, they were nice and they worked hard and, they were productive citizens, that, somehow someone wouldn't lynch them or economically deprive them of resources. But from what I've read, that was not the case, and it's not the case today. The difference is the behavior that we actually made, I think, in the transitions of eras, from what I learned, is that we were the ones who switched up. Trauma has never stopped. It got worse when, by the 1970s, coming out of the Great Depression and Jim Crow, it was worse because we switched to the Democratic Party. We no longer now had the, I think, protections that we were seeking, and that now the Democratic Party was in a position where they can promise us things, right? They would promise each generation, they would promise them to do certain things, and they didn't. It wasn't until the bus boycott, truly shut down economics in the United States. And I think there is something to that. I know most people say, here's another boycott, but I think what it was a collective effort. I mean, they were serious about their business. And so I don't want to beat down on the generation before me or before my mother. I want to say that we see you. We understand why you were tired. But we need a lot of you all to stand up and to pass down, before you leave this plane, the tools you have so that we can pair them with what we know now and make better decisions. I will not be voting Democrat. I voted Democrat all my life because by nature, and, parents did. My parents didn't have the understanding that I have. So my mother, God rest her soul, my father, today is his birthday. Happy birthday, Pops. There's a new conversation that's being had with myself and my family and my children, because we have to be the ones to usher in why it's policy, over party. And the reason why is because we have to become the swing voters, shout out to Black political swingers, to change the culture of voting. The Democratic Party has us over a barrel because they want to usher in the same nonsensical wave of symbolic voting. And the Republican Party thinks that we won't pay attention and somehow we will just aimlessly vote for them. And then the Independent Party thinks that it's an easy catch because they kind of been in the middle party, the party of, how do you say it, Newstoter? They are the, you know, you haven't really chose us, but I know we can get it if you move away from both parties. So I will say that it is policy over party. And in your states and local governments, they have what are called committee meetings. Start going to them. Take a friend with you, have the discussion, find out what referendums are and how do issues get onto the ballot for you to vote for in your state and city. Don't keep allowing these people to force you to vote for any old thing, a street, a post, a lamplight, and you didn't go to a meeting and say, yes, I wanted to put that on a ballot, and I voted for that on a ballot in my city. I think now is the time for us to really get back to civics amongst each other, talk to each other, help each other get the things that we need, and move this thing like we're supposed to. You know, some people will say, you know, I'm waiting for God to show up. I think God will manifest himself, herself, whatever you believe God is to be to you, when we actually superly come together and do the damn thing. So I'm going to land there because I know I always am long-winded. I'm sorry, Newstoter. I try not to be, but we got work to do. And I really, really do have a deep admiration for everybody who is in the fight. You better keep pushing and don't take no wooden nickels. Peace.
All right. On that note, y'all, I know we had another hand up, but I'm going to go ahead and end the space for the night because we've been on for almost 3 hours. So you guys can catch us tomorrow. We'll be back on at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just go ahead, and Newstoter will be on tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. DJ Ray, I know you guys really probably don't have much to say, so I'm going to just go ahead because I have some things I need to go ahead and catch up on. So everybody, thank you for coming to the space. Thank you for all the listeners, the speakers as well. Thank you for everybody who contributed on Cash App. Thank you for everybody who tweeted out the space. We will see you guys tomorrow. Everybody have a good night and God bless you.
Good night, y'all. Reparations up.